Jesus Christ, you made me jump.
Okay.
We will open this meeting of September 18th, 2014. Let the record show that all the selectmen are present except Selectman Scanlon, and he is on his way. First on our list is Dennis Allen, and shortly after you talk about what's talked about in public, we'll go into a non-public.
Okay.
Okay. All right, first is your report.
Well, I think as everybody, as the board has seen, the roads, we did our 3 roads, paved our roads, grind our roads. They were all done. We've backed up the shoulders, put loam down in areas where we should for people's lawns. That's done. We still got a pretty busy schedule. Catherine, can you hear me?
I heard that, thank you.
Okay. We've got to service all of the vehicles, get them ready for inspection, service them for winter. We've still got to fluid film a lot of the vehicles. It's a rust protection that we're spraying on the vehicles. We've got a big brush pile up back in a further yard that we've got to chip before the end of October, because we accept brush again in October and November.
Mr. Allen, what do you do with the chips? Just pile them up?
Blowing them into the woods, Joe. Yes.
Can I ask a question on the streets?
Yes.
Are you putting the bump up?
No, we're not going to install it this year.
Okay.
We'll be put up next year because we'd take it down probably in about a month anyways, Pat.
Okay.
Because
Good.
of winter, okay? We still got to stripe, I want to, providing the weather is good, I still want to redo all of the crosswalks, paint all the crosswalks again before winter. I've got to take care of the problem up on Winter Street that I had showed you, Pat, of the erosion stone.
Yes.
That's right up against the sidewalk that the state put in before winter, so the tractor doesn't get off over there and do some damage. We've got some more asphalting to do. I've got some sidewalk trimming on Chestnut Street up on the upper end of Chestnut Street. The ladies' trees are right out into the sidewalk, and you can't walk on the sidewalk now. So we've got quite a few things left to do. I'm going on vacation. Freddie's going on vacation, so that leaves Arthur, Jay, and John. Also, we've got the fall cleanup coming up, the end of October.
Halloween.
First couple of days in November. Okay. Then I got an email from Catherine. We got to be thinking about the Christmas tree.
Yep.
And the decorations for the island.
Decorations, that's correct, yeah. So,
Do you want me
we've
to
got a
add
little
to your
bit of work.
list?
What's that?
I said, you want me to add to your list?
Sure.
There's 2 manhole covers over in the Ernie's property that the town owns that have to be lifted, and that brush has got to be removed.
I've got the brush right here, brush pile on conservation property.
Okay, good.
I've got that.
Now, the only thing about the brush pile is, they'll be consistently removing more brush. So I'm wondering if,
Well, what I'd like to do, Catherine, is
wait until,
get it before we chip. And then we can chip it all.
yeah, but they cut every weekend until the construction crew lands.
Oh, well, whatever we can get before we chip, then
I'll
we'll
leave it
chip
up to
it.
you.
Yeah.
But we did locate the 2 manhole covers. For a while, they thought there was just one. There's definitely 2. So we need to have those lifted.
I thought that was going to be put into the price of the walking
The grant?
trail.
No, not the trail. The trail monies end at the boundary. There's no trail monies being spent on Ernie's. We have a grant for Ernie's, but it's...
The grant doesn't include...
Well, we're running out of money in the grant. There were some unforeseen items.
Like hazardous waste.
Yeah. The hydraulic lift in there.
Yeah.
So to have them done by town, we would
Well, okay, let me...
save money.
How much is it going to entail?
Use that as the match, too.
What is it going to
I thought there was
entail?
only one. I thought one was raised.
One is raised.
Okay?
That was-
Two-grade?
I hope it's at the grade. It's been raised. It's definitely up.
Higher than the other one.
Yep.
Yep.
And there's two others. The one that's been raised belongs to the Winnipesaukee River Basin people, state of New Hampshire.
Yep.
The two that are there are the towns. So there's three in all.
Okay.
If you stand with the one in front of you that's raised, they're almost in line.
Okay, I guess my question, okay, there's no sub-base or finished grade been established, okay?
I believe there has been.
6 inches of what?
Still going in.
Above what?
The fill and 3 inches of loam.
But what's the grade?
That's 9 inches.
What's the
What's the grade
established
level?
grade?
Right,
He can't put something in that he doesn't know the level of.
Well,
right.
yeah, and
I would prefer to do, okay, is when are you planning on doing your sub-base and your gravels? This year?
yeah,
You are?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Within
when
the
you
next
get ready
couple of
to do
weeks.
that, then we raise the sewer manholes to grade.
How long
Okay.
will it take you to raise them? Day? 2 days?
A day.
Okay, oh, well,
That's all.
That's,
We're
all
not-
right,
we're
then
not-
that's fine.
We're not gonna take the cone off, okay? And order a higher cone. We're gonna build the frames and grates up with brick.
Okay.
Just like they normally do. So if you go up 6 inches, you'll have to use 3 brick, you know? I'd rather do it once and be done, so we don't do it twice.
Well, and that'll give them the opportunity to put a benchmark up on the property that you can shoot a grade from.
Yeah, all I need is a couple days' notice.
Okay, that's
As
perfect.
long as it isn't in October 28th, 29th, 30th, November 1st to November 2nd,
You got
during
that,
the amnesty
Joyce?
week.
Not during amnesty week.
Right,
He needs a couple of days' notice, with the exception it
Yeah.
cannot be during amnesty week.
right,
And they have to give us a benchmark.
yeah.
Yeah, without that, you know.
I'd rather, you get your gravels in, okay, and then I can raise them. Okay? Because once you establish your gravel grade, then you're gonna have a finished grade. I don't know if you're gonna lawn, seed, whatever, okay, or you're gonna pave, okay? Then I know exactly what elevation that's gotta be at.
But you can laser down from a benchmark.
True, but it's a lot easier. What if they change the grade?
Well,
Okay?
they better not.
Well...
It's gonna cost
well,
more money, because that means
well-
more fill.
Well, yeah, exactly, Catherine, but,
So they better
you know,
not.
with a day's work, I'd rather do it. All I'm gonna disturb is the diameter of that sewer cover, okay?
How difficult will it be for them to work around them?
Nothing.
Because you don't want them to cover them.
No. They can work around them.
All right,
Yeah.
so we'll have to remember, Joyce, to have
Leave a
that
4-foot by 4-foot
discussion with
square
them.
and that's it. Yeah,
Unfortunately, we're not controlling who's the contractor
Yeah.
on the job.
yeah. Yeah.
Would you have anything else for him?
No, those are the two.
Those are the two. What about
Oh, how about my keys?
Manville Road?
Oh, but I was gonna wait until,
You what?
my keys to the toilet dispensers.
Do you know there is keys in that mechanical room?
Where'd you find them?
You open the door, you turn to the left, you look on the rack, and there is one of those keys right there. Okay?
But there's two different keys.
There is 2 different keys, okay? So you have 2 sets,
Okay,
one for you, one for the cleaning lady,
okay.
okay?
I don't know how they could have lost the keys.
I don't either. I don't either.
That doesn't make any sense.
But,
Thank you, Dennis.
okay,
Do you want to talk about Manville now, or do you want to report more and then talk about Manville?
no, on my reports, I'm just about done. That's what we've got to do. A lot of work. And hopefully we won't get snow too early.
I'm hoping we do.
Huh?
I'm hoping we do.
You are?
Oh, sure.
Oh, snowmobiling now, that's right, yes, yeah.
How's the money going?
In my budget?
Below, yep,
Pretty good,
for the record. I know where it is.
pretty good.
How good is
Very
good?
good. How good is that, Joe? Well, I'm gonna say that we're probably, what, 3/4 into the year?
Yeah?
I think that probably at least, there may be 30% of my line items that are 75%. The rest are below. Yeah.
What is salt coming in at now?
Salt. Granite State is, this is just an estimate. I think it's 56.01, something like that. It's roughly about the same price as it was last year. Morton's International Salt, okay, was who we bought most of our salt was last year. They're at $60.40. But Granite does not buy the salt the same place that Morton buys. I think the salt that comes from Granite is either from Brazil or Chile, okay, and it's not your nice, clear, white rock salt, okay? It's a brownish color. It has a tendency to
Break down.
ball up. It doesn't stay on the road as long. So what I'm going to try to do, okay, is I'm going to try to mix a little of Granite, a little of Morton, mix it together and see how that works, okay, versus, just using it, Granite's straight, Yeah.
I think we should go totally salt-free
Salt-free,
and drive slower.
wow.
What's the situation with the locked area for the police in the back?
I don't know,
How's that
He's getting
going?
estimates.
haven't heard any more. The containment area? Haven't heard
Yeah,
any
I
more.
thought he was working with you on that.
No, haven't heard a word.
I was working with him.
Last,
You're working with Bob?
I got him some concrete estimates, and he was getting fencing estimates. On the last time I emailed him, and I can email him again, it was a couple of weeks ago. He hadn't gotten them all,
All right.
because I told him he had to have 3. I think you don't.
Question, maybe Dennis can help out with. The sewer that they did raise up there is, it smells really bad. I don't know if maybe it wasn't filled in properly or whatever around it with cement. It's
Cover's
very,
not sealed.
I don't know, John, because we didn't raise it.
yeah.
I have no idea.
Looked at it.
Where?
It's-
Johanna and I looked at it yesterday over on the Ernie's property, the one that belongs to the Interceptor. They raised it, they must have raised it under the collar, because it's the same old collar. But if you look at the cover,
Does it fit tight?
yeah, it's not tight, and there must be some kind of gasket they use, because it's just kind of sloppily sitting there.
I don't know if,
I
like,
kind of kicked it a little bit.
the rocks that are around the side, like not really filled in.
No, it's concrete.
So is
It's a
Johanna
concrete
getting in
collar.
touch with them to,
No, the comment is that after the project, if there's still a problem, they'll address it. But I say if we're a couple of weeks from now, if there's still a problem, they need to address it.
if there's
They
a problem
probably-
now, they should address
Yeah,
it?
it's-
Well, they probably figure that it's going to get hit, the cover is going to get dung and bounced around
Where it
like
sticks out of the
construction.
ground, okay, is that all poured in cement all
Yes.
around it?
Yes, but it looks like the old concrete collar.
Oh.
I think they dug down and raised it underneath and then brought the dirt back around.
Okay.
But I couldn't see where the concrete collar had been damaged. But that cover definitely is,
It's
if
real
you lift the
strong.
cover up,
Yeah.
you're going to look into sewer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So there's got to be some kind of seal for that cover. Well, either that, or when they did it, they didn't clean around the lip. So it's not in there, but it's definitely got to do with the cover.
Is it sitting flush on the frame? Or is it tipped up a little bit, John?
The lid doesn't seem to fit real well. It's pretty well rusted. It's got a lot of rot on it. That's why I was wondering if you could just take a
imagine.
quick gander at it and
Yeah, yeah,
see if you,
yeah, I can,
you'll find it easy.
yeah.
Oh, you know.
This
This is the grading plan and the specs.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Eliza had sent me an email saying she spoke to
Smart
the
woman.
Kentucky Basin Project, and that they said, once the soil covers it, it should go away, but if you feel that it is a real problem, you can have them come back out before any work is done on it. I'm just,
Oh.
you know, the board wants that.
Okay. Is there
Aware of it.
any more questions for Dennis at this time?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Manville.
Yes.
You want to start?
Went up today, John located the pipe on his property. It was a lot deeper than he thought, okay?
Yes, it is.
But anyways, we went up and we shot it, okay? And I was asking John about where he would want to discharge the water off his property. And actually, it's 63 feet beyond the existing pipe that is there now. And it would run almost, well, it wouldn't run parallel with the road, but it runs back towards, okay, the railroad track, okay? But when you shoot the elevation, you're 13 inches higher on the other end of where the pipe is going, okay? Where the catch basin, the existing catch basin there is now, the inlet for the pipe going across the road is 2 feet below finished grade of asphalt, okay? So, my feelings, okay, is where John has covered this up, okay? The water comes out of Mansville's road, okay? Goes around the corner, and there's a steep little grade there, and it dumps into that catch basin. The catch basin is froze. That is not a salt area up there, it's strictly sand, okay? But eventually, and you can see where the water, and it could be that the water has discolored the soil from the outlet of the pipe, okay? But it's all dark, okay? Water is sitting in there. But there's no way to drain it. To add on to that particular pipe that John has and put it out beyond his new driveway that he's making, okay, where the high-pressured sewer line is, okay? And we even looked going out further, Catherine, and no, the ground goes up. So then I said to John, I said, there's another solution, but I don't know if you'd be willing, would put in a dry, contained area. What do you mean by that?
Dry well like on
Dry
the
well.
road.
I said, well, what I do is I really think the water table is pretty close there.
I was wondering that myself. It's
You put
definitely
a
there.
dry containment area in, I'd have to excavate probably 8 feet by 8 feet by 6 or 7 feet down, fill it with stone.
But if we were going to
No,
do
and-
that,
No,
if you were going to do that,
no.
would you discontinue that pipe and do it where the current catch basin is? Rather than collecting the water on the Manville side of the road, what is it called now? Where the catch basin exists, not where the
Right.
pipe ends, but where the catch basin exists.
Yep.
If you were going to put a dry catch basin in, wouldn't you put it there and capture it before it crosses the road? I mean, right now, there's a clear indication, if you look, and I've got some pictures here, that the catch basin isn't collecting the water, so even in the winter. It's going past it, you can see where it's eroding Manville Road on the side, you can see where it's running across his property and creating quite an erosion. And if you stand there at that point where the catch basin is, it's uphill to everywhere. It's uphill to Crystal, it's uphill to Andrews. So all that water is coming down from all those roads.
So everybody else's roads do that, what, we gonna go around fixing everybody else's driveways too?
It's our catch basin.
We gotta fix the catch basin.
He buried the catch basin himself. You open the catch basin up, you open up the pipe, now the water's still gonna come there, and it's still gonna cause erosion on his property, no matter what you do.
4 feet down. Is it 4 feet or 3? It's about 4 feet.
I'm not understanding what's the fix here? The water runs across his property no matter what.
We might be able to avoid
It's
that
not
by
just
putting
his
in a dry
property.
well
See
on
this
the 3M
picture?
side.
See the
Yeah.
erosion on the side of Manville?
Yeah.
That's happening because, see where that's the catch basin where my gas can is, and it's kind of uphill to it.
Well,
I mean, but as Dennis had said earlier, this can be graded, so it's
which
better.
This
we,
isn't, whose property is this over here? Because John is over here, right?
Yeah. We probably have a certain amount of right-of-way. I don't remember how wide that road is, we'd have to look. But
Well-
it's probably a combination of the factory and
And-
town.
and we have eliminated a lot of the water problem, okay, is because we've graded the shoulders. Before, 2 or 3 years ago, okay, the shoulders weren't graded. Now, over the course of the years, the winter sand has built up on the edge of the side of the road, so the water could not run off onto the shoulders. So we've graded all that and put a percent of slope, so now the water does go onto the shoulder and isn't held up by the winter sand. So, yes, you do, you get a lot of water coming down there, but 90% of that water, Catherine, is from Quintees Road. It's not from Crystal.
Right.
It's not from,
Well,
Is this
except...
the one that he
This is-
buried? Is this the one that he filled in?
no, that is the town's. His is across the road
Well,
from there.
the pipe goes from this to
Right,
across.
that's right, yes.
But
Yeah.
this is...
So if he didn't fill in across the street, it wouldn't back up?
No, but it would run all over his land.
Run all over his land, Pat.
And dig a
Right.
big chasm
Right.
down the side.
4 feet deep.
Yeah, yeah.
It's 3.5 to 4 feet down in, so you'd have that, you'd have to build a bridge.
And if you took,
And then where's it gonna go?
if you took the drainage and you ran it on the detention pond side of Mansville, okay? Now you've got all of these big bull pines that are
They're gonna
40,
come down.
50 feet high,
They will come down.
and they will come down because you're in the root system.
I have a question,
On
Dennis.
top, not
Right,
below.
exactly.
Where the catch basin is now, is there a possibility of putting the dry well right there?
I don't think you have enough area, Joe,
Is that right?
to be very honest with you.
And it isn't gonna solve the
No,
problem of the
no.
runoff on the other side, because this trench, and remember, this,
Yeah.
what you're looking here wasn't
Right.
created in the winter, this was
Right.
over the summer
Over the
and spring and
summer.
fall. This is across Chase's property.
That's on the back end of his property.
That's right.
This is
At the
right
end.
here.
At the end.
That's in the front
No, that's
there.
right in the front.
That's right in the front. It's over
What?
here. It's right there.
It comes
So that's
across,
coming off the road.
Right, that's coming
yeah,
off the
this is
road.
coming off the
That's the end of
road.
his property, is right here.
Right,
And that's where it's coming,
but this
coming
is,
right here.
So how are you gonna prevent that water from creating another,
I don't know, that's why we're talking about this.
you're not gonna?
I mean, I'm very
Spend
concerned
money to
about
do
what's
it, John.
happening to our road here, and that's not winter.
Dennis,
I'm not-
I had
I'm not
a question. Is
I'm
there,
about to spend
I
money
won't
to do that.
redo the road.
is there a possibility of mitigating the amount of water arriving there? Like you said, it comes from Quincy, maybe ditching the road further up so it doesn't all keep from running to there, so you have a lesser amount arriving at that catch
Well,
basin?
I think what you're gonna do, okay, John, is you're gonna create, instead of one problem, you're gonna create 2 or 3 problems.
Because
if I ran
Quinte's is a
ditch
private
and all-
road, right?
Huh?
Is Quinte's a private road?
Yeah,
I
Yes.
think it is, yes.
not ours.
Yes, it is.
not ours. It's a driveway.
So,
Andrews,
Right.
Crystal,
We're not
and...
sticking money into a private road.
well, would Quinte's be obligated to
Nope.
rectify that in any way? if
Mother
they're-
Nature, it's raining. You can't prevent
Well,
rain.
It rains down the driveway, the snow melts that they pile up, it melts and runs down the driveway and collects at the end.
But
I'm
within
not sure how we
within
could-
2 days, okay, of a water pocket being by the catch basin, after 2 days, that's usually
Dry.
seeped down.
Right.
It's gone through the catch basin. Right. And the only way you're getting puddling is when we have those torrential
Yeah.
downpours.
Right.
I went up there during the torrential
Right.
one, and you could see where it
Yeah,
was
you can.
wearing,
Yeah.
when it was just eating away at that turn.
Is that a function of a poorly designed road?
Well, from what I understand, okay, is when they put, correct me if I'm wrong, when they put the sewer line in up there, and that was before me, he said that Andrews Construction put the sewer line in, okay? And when they put the sewer line in, they moved the catch basin pipe, okay, because the sewer line went, the sewer went underneath the culvert pipe, okay? And what they did is they just dug a big hole in his property, okay, and let the water from the catch basin going through the culvert, they just left it there for to drain on his property.
That used to be woods. He took all those trees down.
That I don't know, Al. That I don't know. Yeah,
Chase.
Which is his right, it's his land.
Oh, well, I
yeah,
don't know about that, because he's right next to the wetlands, but that's none of my business.
yeah.
So,
Created his own problem, as far as I'm concerned.
So,
some of those trees are pretty close to the road. It might be
Yeah,
interesting to
you
find
don't-
out how
you
much
don't-
of that
I'll bet
road is
you-
ours,
I'll bet
and
you,
if they're in our
Catherine, that-
right-of-way.
You don't have in places a foot and a half, 2 foot.
No,
No, no.
no, so it'd be interesting to, if
And
we
you
could find
know
out.
that those big pines,
Yeah.
you know, they're not deep. They're on
No,
top.
they're not deep.
And they spread, yeah.
The trouble is, once you start taking one or two down,
Take 'em
the
all
ones
down.
beside them come down.
So it really sounds to me like we don't really have a solution, a resolution to the problem, and so we gotta,
No, not right now, no.
it's not gonna,
No.
it's not gonna happen this year, I don't
It's
think.
definitely gonna happen.
You know?
There isn't a solution. Mother Nature's still gonna pour rain down that road. It's still gonna run on that property, and with the sandy mix he has there, it's still gonna create a crevice. Without even thinking about it. It happens all the time.
Yeah, but our road on the opposite side is being deteriorated from that water action.
that doesn't mean there's a good answer. How about running it, no, you can't do that either. Well, what about running it,
I've
you
seen the
know how
road
the road is, right?
100 times.
You got the road that runs in front of John's house and the
Yeah.
catch basin is over
Right,
here.
right.
You got a manhole right about there.
Sewer manhole.
Yes, that's correct.
You want to put it in that?
No.
Okay.
But I'm thinking if instead of going straight across the road,
Go diagonal.
what if we go diagonal? Now, there's no
Right.
salt on those roads. It's not like we'd be dumping salt into a wetland.
No, but, Joe, if, say the catch basin is right here, okay? You'd have to go on a diagonal like that.
Yep.
Severe.
Yeah.
Okay? And you'd have to run that, we went 63, 90 feet, you'd have to probably go at least 150 feet. Now, from edge of pavement out 150 feet, you've probably got about a 3.5, 4-foot slope.
Yep,
That's it.
yep.
It ain't
Maybe
running.
if there's
You know,
room-
Freezing.
Where's the outlet on a catch basin, standard catch basin? How far down is it?
Deal with it.
Not at the bottom, because that's your trap.
That's, yeah. Normally, you'll run them 4 feet, and you want to try to have a sump in there,
Yeah,
you
at
know?
the bottom.
So 4 feet, yeah.
You need to see those, Joe?
I've been out there plenty of times.
There is a sump in
Good.
it. There is a sump.
That road, no bad.
I drop my glasses in there?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
This is for
And usually you put a 2-foot sump,
It's her tip, she couldn't make it.
catch the material and stuff like
So it was
that.
$20.
But
Yeah,
I don't know, I'll keep putting my,
sure you got it.
I will look,
working on it and think and see what we can do, but
I'll see what I can find out about the width of the road, and if those trees lie within our right-of-way. Because these first trees are off, you're probably all set there, except you are gonna get into the root system.
right.
But
And if the trees were gone, that's gonna dry the whole road up, give you more sun.
it'll solve some winter problems,
Yeah,
definitely. But we need to stop that erosion on our road.
Well, what we did do, okay, the erosion on the road doesn't bother me, because I'll just cut that out and patch that, that's no big deal, okay? We did shape, okay, around the catch basin so the water would go in there, okay? But it may be a while before it drains.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what...
Nowhere to really drain,
What we're
too.
gonna, I asked John if he would have a problem, okay, if we ran a gauge stake down at the end of the culvert pipe and leave it at grade and paint it. So at least
We know where it is.
we know where it is, and he knows where it is, okay? But he was pretty close last night with the digging. He wasn't
Well, it
off
took
too
him a
far.
couple times, he said.
Oh,
but
yeah. And he didn't have a problem with that.
We could also make a triangulation. Okay, all right, I'll do that. I'll look and see what I can find on Manville Road, right-of-ways and the width.
Yeah.
See what we've
Yeah.
got there to wiggle around with.
But there's no easement that you can find, huh?
I did kind of a surface look. I didn't go down into the dungeon. But I will. All right. Thank you, Dennis.
Any more questions at this time for Dennis in a public session?
Do you want to let him know about filling it in the grade stake? So he doesn't have to have that plywood
I
over
did,
the
I
hole?
talked to him today. Yes,
Perfect.
yeah.
I do have one question. It would seem as though when we paved Academy Street, we came out, there's a little peninsula that goes out into Prospect.
Yes.
Why did we pave that? How is it that became, did the water company chip in for asphalt, is what I'm thinking?
Yes, they did.
Okay,
They're paying for all of that. Yes,
okay.
yes. It was
Just
measured.
wanted to find
It was
out.
measured
Yeah,
on Academy. It
Yeah.
was also measured on Spruce,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Yes, because
Cool.
they had to cut back into a person's driveway, probably 6 or 8 feet, Joe.
Yeah.
So that was measured. That's being billed to the water company. Yes.
Good enough.
The tonnage is being deducted off in mine. Yes. I have the total slips for tonnage.
So they did share the cost.
Yes, it is, yes, yes,
Very nice, thank you.
yes.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3 personnel.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And we're ready. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as they pertain to personnel and hiring until such time as the personnel have been hired.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right?
Aye.
At this time, I would like to make a motion to hire 2 positions to the Highway Department. One would be for the sidewalk driver, December to March, at $15 an hour, and a plow driver for $15 an hour from January to March, and the plow driver must have a CDL license.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is it through March?
Through March, April 1st, through.
Yeah.
Once the sidewalk driver starts a month earlier. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
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 That's unanimous.
How'd I do, Catherine? Did you hear me?
Yes, I did, thank you,
All
Dennis.
right, good.
Loud and clear.
Okay, Julie. Anything
right.
else?
I think that's it.
I happen to notice that in town departments, your budget, you've spent the least amount of money, I think, because I have these finance reports, and
Ah.
you're significantly below a lot of other areas of the budget. Only the welfare department has spent less than you have as a
Right.
percentage of their budget.
Just
Make a
so,
budget to be
But,
cut.
just so,
in a reason...
You're loaded on the
reason
end,
for
too.
doing that, Joe, okay, is because if something big happens, okay, now I have the money to fix that, okay?
Well, you have a lot of back-end expenses, wintertime expenses
I do.
and whatever that,
Yeah.
you know, buying salt and winterizing vehicles and all the rest of the
Like-
things that go with that, so I
Depending on
expect,
the winter.
Yeah, but but...
It's coming.
That's just like, okay, we've got a problem with John's truck, the 99, okay?
really, what's the problem with the
Goes
99?
along, it shuts off. Goes along, it shuts off. Starts back up, goes along, shuts off.
Computer.
So we thought, well, it could be fuel filter, could be a little water in the fuel, okay? So we changed the filters. today and did the same thing, okay? So, but looking at it, could be the crank sensor.
Really? Sensor. Don't we have a computer thing that plugs into
No, we
that
do
truck?
not.
Not on that one?
No, not on that, no, okay? But, so, we can tell by the codes, pushing it, reset it, okay, and it'll come up with a code, and we can find out from another person, okay, what the code consists of, okay? But probably 99% is gonna be a crank sensor, okay? Hopefully, okay? Hopefully it isn't in the brain of the computer. But, you know, that's why I don't spend up front. I kinda keep towards the rear just in case of things like this that happen. Yeah.
Dennis, just so you know that Community Action Program has not done hiring for a new senior center program director, and Emily LaPlante will be an interim director. She placed an order today for, a couple of days ago, for black plastic bags, because I know Sarah has been really wanting a thicker bag, and she actually got bags from them, so I said, well,
From who?
you gotta let Cap.
Oh, okay, good.
So, and also, she cleaned out the maintenance room, and there were towels that fit the old ones, so
Okay, yeah.
I'd like to bring those back,
That's
because you
fine,
could
yeah.
use them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
She does know the procedure to call Joyce and then have you call and so on and so forth, so.
Yeah, as long as she
You should be all
just
set
lets
that,
us know what she needs, we'll get it up to her.
All right.
Yeah, not a problem.
until, she's the interim until they
Okay.
hire.
Good.
Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Okay?
Appreciate it. Moving on.
Thank you again,
Right,
Mr.
Dennis.
Allen.
Right. Just keep you straight.
Chief?
Yep.
Wait one second. Joyce, did you get in touch with Mike, and is he coming in the agenda?
He said about 6:15, 6:30. He had another commitment.
Okay. Thank you. Nice time last night.
Grab that mic, please, chief. You have to speak into that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody that came last night. I mean, it was a great cause for Special Olympics, and you could see the athletes that were there appreciated it, so, and so did I. It was huge. I talked to Gary, the manager, down there today, and I think in just a couple hours, we did over 1,100 in tips, which is pretty good. And it's a win-win no matter what, so thank you guys for coming in last night. I'll just run through my report. Internal calls for service were about 7,300. We did 328 in the last week. Coming up this fall, Luke's in the process of putting together the firearms qualification schedule, where everyone will be going through firearms qualifications, and he tries to do that before the snow flies so he can get into Franklin. That actually, we have a little bit more room and flexibility over there, but once we get snow, they close it. And vehicle issues this week, the only thing is the 3B has a warranty issue with the transfer case, so that's in auto serve till Monday. And other than that, no other issues to report there. Nothing to report on the building this week, which is always nice.
Side's too small.
That's too small.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Everything seems to be working in it this week, which is good. Obviously, our officer came back during the week. Everyone knows about that. The second officer comes back Sunday night. And third officer has a surgery date coming up, first week of October. So they bumped him up. Yes, so that's good news. So
Very
that's going to
good.
come up very quick.
Can he repeat? We just can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, by the end of this week, both the officers that were out will be back in.
Okay.
And then the third one has his surgery date coming up October 6th.
Okay.
So that's gonna sneak up quick. So that was good news, bumped him up. Obviously, we had Tippecanoe last night. It went great. The fire department came down with us. Drug take-back is coming up Saturday, the 27th, from 10 to 2. Captain Martin coordinates that with Franklin PD. It's going to be at CVS this year. So 10 to 2 on Saturday, the 27th. If you have extra prescriptions,
And this is at the CVS in
CVS,
Franklin?
yeah. And they actually fill up a drum every time they do it. So it's a really good thing, and you figure they do that throughout the state.
Who takes charge of those drugs once they're dropped off?
They go down to Franklin PD, and then the DEA sends out,
They're handled
Somebody
by
picks them
police
all up.
officers at every step of the way, correct?
yeah, then they get escorted in and destroyed. And it's a nationwide program.
Mhm.
An excellent program.
What
Excellent
method do
program.
they use to destroy them? Are they burned,
I think so.
incinerated? Because our trash goes to the incinerator, so why wouldn't you put them in the trash?
Yeah, well, there's a drug control issue with it, too. So, like, not just anyone can pick them up, and,
People can go through the trash.
yeah.
Ew.
They actually have
Hey.
to stand there and watch it be burned, and
I mean, I go through the trash, but it's not to save it.
They know if people have been through, say, your neighbor or the neighbor next to you have gone through hospice, then there's a lot of drugs left over. People have been known to go throw them in the trash, and that's when they pick them up. It's awful.
It's very sad.
And Catherine's speed trail is down on Silver Lake Road, starting to do the data, so we'll do 7 days in each direction.
Okay.
I have an email into DOT to start looking at it like we did before. Once they get all the preliminary data in, then at some point they'll need a letter from the board,
Okay.
just asking.
That's with regard to the bus
The speed
signals,
limit.
signs?
Yeah, the
Bus
speed
stop.
limit on Silver
Yeah,
Lake.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it all kind of intertwines together. Today we got an award down in Worcester, which was nice. 2 Ps in all of New England were awarded. One was PBD-PD, an officer down there got Detective of the Year award from PBD-PD, and then we got Agency of the Year award. So that was very nice. They treated us like VIP celebrities down there.
What does that mean precisely?
So, organized retail crime is, it's obviously, it involves multiple states. It's stuff stolen not for personal use, but for resale. It's like a underground business.
Yeah.
It's a $30 billion industry in shrink, but it's probably close to $100 billion when you include fraud and counterfeit receipts, counterfeit checks, when you include it all together. And we all pay for that. And then, of course, you have identity theft is intertwined with that, like the counterfeit check case. So it's a huge problem. And so we take it real serious. We indict all our felony cases. So they recognized us for the work we've done indicting felony cases on organized retail crime. And so each state has to pick an agency, then submit that list to the New England Organized Retail Crime Association, and then they pick a winner. So we were picked for 2014.
Nice.
So it was nice. They really did treat us like VIPs down there. And so that was good. And then they had some training all day for us too, which was real nice. And then Luke came in because we wanted to talk about something for actually a couple things. Luke, if you want to come up. Luke had done a little bit of research for me because our tasers, they were all bought by the previous chief. They're all coming up to a point where their parts for them won't be obtainable. They're obsolete. Some of them are broken.
The what?
The parts.
tasers.
Oh, the tasers. I thought
yeah.
you said cages.
And so we're in a position where we're going to have to start to replace them. And Luke's been in contact with Taser, and they have a new maintenance program that we're looking at for next year. So we wanted to just talk about it briefly. We're looking at replacing, what, 5, Luke?
Yeah, like currently, excuse me, the current tasers that we use are all from 2005, 2006 timeframe, and we've been very lucky to get the life out of them that we have. Currently have 3 or 4 that are down that can't be fixed. Basically, when you send a product to Taser, if they can't immediately fix it because of the age of the item, the cost to fix the item is the same as purchasing a new one. So it doesn't make any sense, number one, to fix them. And then the other thing is that the current model that we use, which is the X26, is being discontinued as of December 31st this year. So all parts, batteries, everything that relates to that is going to be unobtainable. So it's...
And these are 2005, so they've been around now for almost...
For a while, yeah.
About 10 years, 9 years.
I'd have to check the exact...
That's when we got them.
Yeah, I think
Sounds right.
we obtained some at different times. So
Right.
they're all pretty much, I believe, between 2005 and 2006 to 2007.
That's when we attained them, but they usually,
To 2008, so...
the product itself has been out on the field for,
Yeah, I think the X26 was introduced in the early 2000s, 2002.
Right.
2003.
so it's been out there for a while.
2002.
It's been out, and you know, and it's run its life. It's a very good unit to have. They're a great piece of equipment. I can speak from personal use that it saved people's lives, because there are people that I've encountered that I had the opportunity to use deadly force, but I had the opportunity to use a taser instead and save that person's life. So, you know, anytime you can do something like that, it pays for itself in that first use. And that's only me in particular. I know that's been multiple times that's happened. With the X26 going by the wayside, the 2 models that they are producing now, the X26P is the replacement to this. It's a completely new unit, though. The only thing that it shares commonalities with is the cartridge itself. That is what the cartridge that holds like the wire and the darts and stuff like that.
So it's transferable.
They are, but well, I'll get to that in a second. The other new unit is the X2, which is their latest model. So this will be the one that will outlive the X26P and stuff like that. And the X2 has the latest in all of the technology as far as, and I'm not 100%, up to snuff on it. But I do know that with these old technology, when you shoot the probes go where they go, and then depending on how they're seated, depends on what type of effect that they have. Things like loose clothing, baggy winter jackets, articles in your pockets, all those things can interfere with the connection, and you may not get the full effects of the taser. Under the new technology that's out there, it's when the probes go into someone, it has the ability to register how that connection is, and then change the power outage to the different darts in order to make that connection.
So it's actually a dot that goes into them?
Yep, it's like a little, I don't want to say fish hook, but it's like they're probes that are about this long, and then the actual part that goes in you is only about 1/4 of an inch, and it's just got a little tag, like a little barb on it.
They leave a mark.
They do. I've had it done to me. It was a very,
Shocking.
Humbling.
for lack of better terms, but,
I've seen
it's
it
one of
done,
those-
not to me, but...
Yeah, it's one of those things
It had
too
me.
that once it's in my personal view, it's better than pepper spray, because pepper spray can affect everyone.
Yeah.
And pepper spray only affects about 60% of the population, and that drops drastically when you throw into alcohol and drugs. Both of those impairments can dull the senses, and people can fight through it, and it doesn't always work. The taser, in my experience, when I've used it, as well as when I had it used on me, it was incapacitating. There wasn't anything I could do. It took the fight right out of me.
How far away from a person do you have to be to use pepper spray?
Pepper spray.
Or I
don't
should say,
quote me
how
because
close?
I'm not an instructor, but it is, I believe it's like...
5 to 7.
Yeah, like 5 to 7, 6 to 12 inches, something
And a
like that.
taser?
Taser you can use up until contact. So
I mean, how far away, what's the farthest
The
you can be away
25,
from
right.
someone?
25 feet, which you wouldn't be able to use.
That in
Well,
itself.
actually, technically, there's a cartridge that we don't carry that's a 35-foot cartridge. but we only carry the 25 for cartridges.
But even so, it's a safer distance than 6 feet.
Then, oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, well, the
You won't
the
get
pepper
yourself with
spray,
it as easy.
the pepper spray, you have a limit as far as how close you can be, and then realistically, when you get farther away, it starts to break up, and you don't get the effect that you do. Like, optimal range is like right in that 3 to 5 feet. Taser is something that you can use to keep a distance from someone. And it has much greater effect and everything else like that. And even when you have pepper spray on you, you continue to fight, whereas the taser incapacitates you and it gives the officers the ability to go up and take personal custody and stuff like that.
So how many do we have right now that do we have possession of?
Currently, we have 4
Working.
working for patrol, and then the SRO has one. One of those actually went down, and then miraculously it started to work again. I cleaned it out a little bit, used some alcohol swabs on it, stuff like that, and it was able to work. The ones that we have that are down are all like serious mechanical issues, like one of them was like smoking, the other one, the spark was only on the interior with the spark on the exterior, so like
They've reached their life,
they're
yeah.
shot.
How much does a taser gun?
Well, before you answer that, how many do we need, how many should we have? Forget about what we currently have.
Right.
How many should we have? One for each officer
I
or
would
one for
say
each?
I would say for patrol needs, you would need at least 4. But then you also have the SRO and stuff like that. So I think 5 would be that happy medium between enough to where we can cover the officers on the road. You have the SRO. We do have these older models, so that might be something that maybe the SRO would continue to have the one that he has, and then these can go to the other older ones that still work. But you never know when they're going to break and they're going to stop quitting. Maybe those could go to detectives or something like that.
So you're, the ultimate,
The ones that might not work and
The
go to the
ultimate number
detectives.
is?
You got something
Ideal
against
number?
detectives, Corporal?
I think, well, yeah, and
could we borrow the ones that don't
You
work
feeling
some of the
lucky?
time?
Your ultimate goal is 5?
I think the
Is your ultimate goal 5 or 7? That's
So
what
we should
I'm
do
mixing.
What's your ideal number?
I think 5 would get us through at least for this year.
Okay,
But what's your ideal number?
right, that's what we want to know. Because we need to plan
I
ahead.
mean, forget about.
And can we get a deal if we get 7
Then you don't
instead of
have
5?
Well,
You don't have any.
We have 7 patrol officers and how many supervisors?
the patrol officers we have, 7.
7?
And patrol supervisors.
Cool.
And you have support personnel too, like detectives and school resource officers.
That's 3.
The question that you're asking me, the ultimate.
Would be
the ultimate
14.
number, that would be, but I think that may be on.
Well, why would you need a taser for an officer who's not on duty?
Well, that's why we've always,
And that's why we've rotated.
we've always gone with
In a
5 to
perfect
7.
world, it's great, it's best if everybody has their own equipment, and the reason why is you take care of your equipment. You know.
You're responsible for your
Who's not
equipment.
taking care and who is?
No, not that, but it's just one of those things. It's
You
always.
use your own, you have a sensitivity,
Then you don't run the
everybody
risk of
knows.
forgetting to grab it when you're running out the door. If
Right.
someone comes in right at the beginning of your shift, it's always on your belt. Question that you answered, what is the best number for us to have? That depends on what tasers we get and/or the ability to have, which is one of the next things I was going to talk about, is the tasers redone their entire program. They have, used to be able to get items like batteries and cartridges from distributors. Now Taser solely controls all of their accessories and stuff like that. So for you to get anything, you have to get it directly from Taser. The benefit to that is they've been able to streamline a lot of their stuff, and they now offer a warranty program on each unit. The way that the warranty program works is it's 100% coverage no matter what. If you take it and you kick it like a football out into the road and it gets run over by a tractor trailer, they're going to send you a brand new unit.
Nice.
Doesn't matter what happens to it, it's 100% replaceable. The program, the new tasers cost $999.95. That is the cost of the tasers. The warranty program is $200, and don't quote me, and these numbers were from put on a few months ago. The warranty program, I believe, is $205 per unit, per year. What that means is that if you're, in every 5 years, they replace your units 100%.
Do you mean you never have to buy another one?
You would never have to buy another one, you would only have to budget yearly
For the warranty.
The warranty money goes towards the new taser.
But the warranty...
So in 5 years, they just replace them all.
So just for simple math, just say that the taser costs $1,000. Every 5 years, you pay $200 per unit for the warranty. So that means at the end of the 5 years, you've now paid $1,000, they give you a brand new unit. But
$1,025.
Here talking about, oh my God, now we're going to come up with a substantial amount of money to buy these things.
But when you get this second unit, when you, after the 5 years, you get the second unit, can you still continue the $200 warranty?
Yes.
And then so now,
rotates.
it's just a matter of getting the
The
warranty,
initial upfront cost of starting it.
and then you get the warranty.
And so just for simple math, we'll say that we get 5 tasers, $1,000. $200 per unit per year, that's $1,000 a year for
Right.
the warranty program.
$6,000.
That's the $5,000, so at the end of the 5 years, you get new units. The benefit to this, and the reason why that they're offering this now, is they understand that the initial upfront cost sometimes can be difficult, especially for smaller agencies to swallow. However, the ability to budget for that, let's know that every year, as a line item, we budget $1,000 to cover the cost of the taser warranty program. So that way you spread the cost out over the years, and then you would never have a large upfront cost like this again until this unit becomes obsolete.
Right. Which makes more sense to start out with
High number.
the right number, not the high number, an adequate number, rather than I'll squeak
Right.
by with this number.
And I don't want to tell you what the ultimate number is, because I have to reach out to Taser and say, hey, when it comes to the warranty program, what's the turnaround time? Because the moment one goes down, if it takes you 2 weeks to mail it in, and then they receive it, and then they mail it back, now you're down to 4. That puts us dangerous. So it could, the magic number could be 7. It's going to depend on what they say about the warranty time frame.
Turnaround.
But, you have to look at, during the day, there's usually 3 patrol officers. You have the captain and the chief that are around. You have the prosecutor, you have 2 detectives, you have an SRO.
Do you carry a taser on you?
No, but I'm taser trained. I just always let them have them first. But I go through all the training with them.
And so I know for a fact from right now, the 4 that we have for patrol, the moment somebody forgets to, they're running out the door, it's 1 a.m., they're putting out their belt, now drops you down. Because it's locked up in the clock. 5 is the minimum. Would I rather see 7? Absolutely.
Me too.
But, obviously, it's all going to depend on, I think, that warranty and how quick it turns out. That's something I can find out.
The warranty program is annoying.
So
I mean, if they make a good product, then you shouldn't have to pay $200 a year for a warranty.
Right, but the warranty...
So they really should call it a
Replacement plan.
replacement policy.
Right.
You can call that yourself.
But the good thing is it protects you from whatever happens to the unit. I was very lucky that I smashed a unit when I was in a chase with somebody, and I took a digger and went right down the pavement. And my cartridge broke, but the taser didn't, so luckily, which is what's bad. So, but, that was a situation that, once again, I ended up being able to use a taser to subdue someone, and it was a benefit to have it.
John, you had a question?
Yeah, Taser must not be the only manufacturer of these, right? What is their closest competitor to compare with?
I don't really, historically across the country, there really isn't anybody else.
No other ones that we could come up with to say that this is a...
I don't believe so, and the people that don't have the research and the the attorneys.
The legal backup, the
legal
research,
factor,
the
yeah.
data.
I mean, the scientists that work for this company, this is the oldest company that...
Because I know there's different manufacturers of firearms.
Yeah,
motors,
nothing comes to
all that,
mind,
so-
and being in the fact that being in law enforcement and working with tons of agencies, I've never seen anything but Taser. So I guess you can kind of say they have a monopoly on it, or they're that good that nobody tries things like us. But it is a very limited market. Like, maybe there might be one other person out there, I just don't know about it. But I can check.
Yeah, look to see if there are any other,
But I think
Just to compare.
it's great to look at those things, but when you look at the powerhouse that this company is, that if anything bad would ever happen, they have attorneys that they would send down if there was ever anything happened. Like, they have that large legal and that background. But I can most certainly check and see if there's anything.
Is this an item that can be purchased out of the detail fund?
I think it is.
Yep.
It's equipment.
Yes, it's equipment.
Can you get the answers to those questions that, on the,
Whether or not the warranty program.
right, in the turnaround and get back to us?
I'd say we buy 12 of them.
And I think that, if we could afford it this year, I think would be the time to get them this year, because it's towards the end of the year, to see what kind of monies that you have left over, or the detail fund.
It's almost like a lease program where you're paying up front and you
Yeah.
pay a year.
Right.
They call it a
Basically.
maintenance replacement,
Is that what they call it, maintenance replacement? Yeah.
official title.
Yeah.
There you go.
And,
Maintenance replacement.
so I wrote down, and I'll look into if there's any other companies.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
That's equal to these, but I don't think I'm gonna do that, but I'll look. The question isn't whether or not we need these, the question is how soon we're gonna need them.
Exactly.
And the reason why is because right now, we're already danger zone, we're already out of, and that's just because we know that this time was coming, and we've been working on this and getting numbers together. And we're kind of just trying to pick up one or two things here and there, like a lot of our battery life on these, and if you guys don't mind if I take this out real quick. So these are the cartridges that we carry on the items. This has like the little, you think like fishing line. It's electrical lines, things go out. Every one of these, when you turn them on, they have a battery. All right, and it tells you the power percentage. This is actually one of the higher ones. We have some that are in the teens and stuff like that. And then obviously you have your little resolution right there, and you have a flashlight on it as well, so when you're in low light situations. The new ones are actually have two lasers. One shows where the top probe will hit, and the other one shows where the second probe will hit. When they come out, I believe they come out at 18.
So 2 probes always?
2 probes.
That one too?
Yep. It's the same technology. The benefit of the new one is that, so if I use this cartridge and say I miss or I don't get a very good hit, I have to take that off. I have to de-energize the thing, take it off, toss it, take the other one off, put it back on, re-energize it, and then shoot again.
Provided you're still conscious, right?
It's a little bit of a process. The new models are
Hold on a minute.
actually dual shot, and so you can shoot one, and if you don't get the connection that you need, you can immediately follow it up with another shot.
Oh, okay.
Same person. The other benefit is if you have multiple people fighting, you can shoot one person
And then the other?
and another person, and they both will get their own individual.
If the person doesn't go down with the first shot, can you shoot him again? Or are you like,
With this one, no.
no, I mean with
With
the
the
one
new-
you're talking about?
The new one,
Or is
yeah.
that too much?
No, it doesn't give you like a double dose. It
Adjusts for the-
Yeah, it would basically, it can all read all those things, like, so when they go into you, you're not getting like
That's frightening.
a double ride. And-
That kind of stuff breaks.
And like, so like if one of these, so if you get one like here, and I used it on an armed robbery suspect, hit a large bundle of cash that she had taken and some index cards, laminated index cards. So she wasn't getting the full effect of it. Under the new technology, one dart would go in and the other dart would be able to read that this dart isn't getting a good connection and would put more power towards that dart.
Seriously?
less power towards that, and then complete the circuit. So, there's a lot of new benefits to them.
Plus the
and
new
stuff
ones,
like
they can
that.
download the data, right?
Yeah. It's a lot
Could we
more,
go up to the pit, the gravel pit and something, just try it out for when you get it?
It's,
I want to try, I want to see it working. Not on me.
You gotta have, somebody's
I
gotta
have an
volunteer.
implant, I can't
next
do
time we
it.
get a new officer, we'll see
Gus
if we can
Strauss.
bring it down
Oh,
here,
yeah.
and,
Do it.
we'll do it in front of you guys.
Brand new, you want to be an
I have
officer?
video, I have video of us, well, Officer Keel and Officer Glenn.
Did it.
Came down.
Oh, that I'd like to see.
You can see it on YouTube, too. They're very
It's,
effective.
And so, I think this is something that we would need to do when we were been talking about needs of the agency. Two of the big things that are on the radar right now, obviously, are this, and then body cameras is another thing that, across the country is something that's a big push. New Jersey just passed state law that said that every officer shall be required to wear one.
Well, New Jersey has a lot more money than we do, though.
They're
I
actually
mean,
more bankrupt
Christie
than
really
the
works
state,
hard.
honestly.
But isn't that the result of police being a little, let's just say, overzealous?
I think it's
in arresting
that, but
people?
I think it's also has to do with frivolous complaints that people get all the time. There's actually a lawsuit that was filed, and I believe it was either San Diego or San Francisco, and I believe it might be San Francisco, where it was actually an off-duty firefighter claimed that an officer was being racially biased towards them, and was outside of the scope of his job, filed the lawsuit, and then the next day, the agency immediately released the body camera video, which showed the officer did his job and did it well, and it saved them from
What were your fees?
a lot of zero lawsuit.
It actually just
So-
happened in LA again this week.
Yeah, and so, and then you look at other things across the world with like Ferguson and stuff like that. The reality is everything looks different from the side, and the things without sound and stuff like that. These body cameras give you a first-hand account of what the officer is seeing, and the angles in which they see it, as well as all audio communication. And, I recommend all of you to go onto YouTube and check them out. If you just type in police body cameras, there's so many videos out there nowadays. One of the ones that really hit home for me, so most places you're wearing them on the center of your chest, and so it's projected out in front of you. And, you got your audio and visual recording of the situation. The guy went into a house, and there was a suicidal subject. The guy ended up having knives in his hand, came at the officer had to use lethal force. Now, rewind the clock, if he didn't have that body camera on, we know the way the world is. People like, well, he went in there to kill the guy, and he was bloodthirsty and everything else like that. And that's the world that we live in, and unfortunately, that's what people perceive us as. The reality is the officer went in there to check on the guy because he was called there by somebody that was involved in the situation. You heard him giving verbal commands, say, hey, listen, I don't want to do this, put down the knife. Using good verbal commands, and then at that point he had to use lethal force, and the guy started closing in on him. But it's all those situations that right there could save the town on hundreds of thousands of dollars for the price of a body camera. And so we've taken a look at quite a few models. There's new models coming out frequently, of which I just saw one last night. I was like, oh, this looks pretty good. Might be something that we can test. There are some that go up to the $800 range, and then there's some that are cheaper into the $300 to $500 range. So I mean, it all depends. Obviously, you want to make sure that you balance cost with something that's going to be durable, not going to have the ability to break and stuff like that. Because you do unfortunately get into physical confrontations at times, and you want to make sure it's going to be durable.
I remember when we went down for an award of some sort down in Concord, the U.S. Attorney was there, and the U.S. Attorney, remember, and he came up to us and said, talked to us about body cams and the importance of what was going to happen and what the trend was like. It's coming to New England because of free staters and people that are agitating the world out there just to make sure that they're getting ahead just so that they can push the legal system and get something out of it. And that was a couple years ago, and he said the trend is...
It's something that all of us come to grips with the fact that people aren't going to like us all the time. And people make
Back
It's
guys,
about
yeah.
us, and it is what it is, and that body camera gives you the ability, you're not there, you have two sides of the story, and sometimes it's difficult for us to decide when we get to a scene, when we have one person telling us one thing and one person telling us. And unfortunately, in your guys' line of work, when lawsuits come down, sometimes it's easier to make it go away as opposed to fight the thing all the way through.
Well, look at the one that was in Tilton, that sat in the back seat, and the officer went inside, and when he went in, he decided he was, do you remember that? He was going to claim bodily harm by an officer.
Right.
And there was cameras in the car, that's when we installed the cameras in the car, and they, I think it was Matt, but he said, do you look at this, and is this what you mean by bodily harm?
Right.
And it was him beating his head against the cage.
I had the whole thing on video, and
Right.
So that must have quickly ended the case.
And that was in Tilton.
We just had a class in reference to like internal affairs and supervisor liability and stuff like that. And the gentleman that put it on is an attorney that represents numerous large agencies. And I can't remember what agency it was, but it was a substantially large agency. And he said that with the introduction of body cameras, their officer-involved complaints dropped by over 60%. Just from somebody saying that an officer was unprofessional and rude and was swearing at them, it's that easy to pull up this video, click play, and watch it, and be like, the officer was inside his rights to talk to you in the way he did. He didn't use foul language, and at the same time, it adds an accountability to the officer as well for us to make sure that our officers
Right.
are being polite and courteous to the public and everything else. So, once again, it always comes down to the almighty dollar. But you have to look at the cost first, the liability factor out there, and the fact that this could protect the town and its citizens as well as the police department would do that.
While you're talking about liability factors, let's touch on tasers again. The American Civil Liberties Union has never quieted on the use of tasers, and in fact, Connecticut just passed a law that restricts the usage by police departments. It determines the time and when, and et cetera, et cetera. They claim there's been over 500 deaths due to tasers in this country.
so they'd rather you shoot somebody than
How
taser.
will your
That's what they're saying.
new tasers be able to, I don't think we're ever going to satisfy the American Civil Liberties Union, but
Is that the taser you're talking about?
That's the current one that we have.
And that's the
One
second
on the left
one?
is the first one that came out in like the 80s and 90s.
And this is the one that's out?
The X26 is the one that we have currently. That's the model that we have.
Yeah.
And then the two ones that are the newer models is the 26P and the X2 is the model.
I don't have that one in here.
That's, I guess they kind of came out about the same time. But the X2 is considered the newest, so it'll be my recommendation that that's what we do, because when they start discontinuing models, they're going to discontinue the 26P before they continue the X2. Very well.
How often do we,
To answer your question in regards to taser, I'm sure that people have
That one
died,
now.
primarily,
Shot now.
I believe that most of that, the people that do die, are the ones that are, weigh 400 pounds and eat instead of once a day and smoke 3 packs of cigarettes. So, there are underlying factors that do that, but pepper spray has caused a substantial amount of deaths as well. So
Did he
you have
just
to-
say what I
you have
thought
to
he
look
said?
at- You have to look at all those
They-
factors.
right,
They-
but it seems as though American Civil Liberties Union has grabbed onto tasers at the
Well,
moment.
body camera.
So my question is this newer taser you're describing, which has the ability to, determine how much it's sending out to you, is it considered safer than, say, the current model you're using? So at least it would be that factor. Let's say we were hit with a lawsuit, heaven
I
forbid.
could find out.
That might
if
be
it's-
interesting
if it's
to-
considered safer.
Right.
But I believe it still operates under the same.
I mean, I'm sure you can't be, do you have any heart problems? Do you have any?
Yeah, you can't do.
Before I tase you, oh, by the way,
I mean,
are there any health issues?
Look,
Taser still stands that none of them were actually related to the device. It was drug issues, preconditions, medical issues, all of that.
Right.
But the courts, they look at the Taser cases as they come through the circuit courts all the time, and each circuit court makes different recommendations, and we kind of follow those. So we've adjusted where it fits in the use of scale. It used to be passive resistant, now it's aggressive resistant. You know, the number of deployments, you know, there used to be, when it first came out, there was no number. So, you know, the officer could, you know, issue 12 deployments of the taser to one person, try to get them under control. The courts have said, no, we want a reasonable amount. So if 3 is a reasonable amount and the person's under control, then that's when you stop. And so they're constantly adjusting it. They still, even the circuit courts have said it's a valuable tool. We don't want to take it away from law enforcement. We just want it to be reasonably used and have precautions. People do go down when they're hit, so if we can take some steps to get them before they go down and hit their head, we should.
Well, but
if
the
we
interesting
can.
factor is they don't, well, let's use that word, they don't factor in how many deaths from, you know, police having to
Which would-
shoot
yeah.
people in this country. And I'm sure it's much higher than 500, unfortunately.
Well, it's-
And then the other factor is how many of these 500 individuals, if they didn't have the option of using a taser, would have actually been shot, and definitely, you know, there wouldn't have been any doubt.
I can tell you.
So,
Or a lot.
probably all of them.
I can tell you 2 to 3.
Just
2 to 3
here.
in mine, and I'm one person. On my deployments that I've had, I could have used lethal force. Other officers couldn't believe that I did tase them.
Yeah, so.
We had a guy,
How often do we deploy tasers in the Tilton Police Department? Is there
I'll
a
give you an exact number
yeah, for
yearly.
department our size, might be 3 to 5 a year. And
But I bet you if we had shot somebody, you could tell me exactly how many. I mean, if we're going to use that kind of force, I think we should keep records of having used.
to report
You
the
just
taser
don't know, I
afterwards.
see.
Yeah, yeah.
X2.
taser-
How much does it cost
We have to
to
report that.
deploy a taser?
Look at two.
The units have individual serial numbers.
Electricity.
And then,
Look at, see.
inside of each cartridge, there is a serial number, and then these little, like, pieces of confetti, because the only way I can explain it. They come out and they have the serial number on it. Serial number really isn't too important when it comes to these, because obviously if you deploy it, you're gonna know it, and you're gonna have to, and such. There is a, you know, we have a use of force policy at our agency, and that's electronic control devices. So when they deploy it, we immediately call medical as well. And the reason for that is even if it's a soft deployment, you get somebody, they drop on the grass, they're completely fine. You still always call the fire department.
Have them
send
checked.
it out, and that way the person will go, fine, you know, give me the upper one.
They do it, yeah.
They sign themselves off.
So we don't track information as far as when we tase and...
We do.
We do.
We do,
Oh, yeah.
so that, you do have that compiled
Yeah, it's
someplace?
it's a use of force form that goes into this.
Okay. But I mean, is it compiled? Do you gather that information, or in other words, if I said to you, how many times have we tased somebody since we purchased the tasers, would you have to go back to each individual file and look for that information, or do we compile it?
They used to actually put it in the report, now we do a separate form.
But do you compile it
Compile, yeah, we
somewhere?
do, yeah.
So in
the
other
CAP
words, you could get that information from me tomorrow?
does. Yeah.
Okay. I just think it's important to track it. I'm not a fan of the American Civil Liberties Union in any way, and I just, when they start grasping onto something, they're like voracious, ravenous, itis people.
And what does it cost to deploy a taser?
Cartridges are about $20, plus or minus.
$22.
$20 to $25, depending on which one you get.
All right, so it costs $25 to shoot it. Just curious.
Yeah, I know in Plymouth, we had a guy that was at a homeless shelter up there, and he was delusional, he thought everyone in the homeless shelter was in his house. So when we got there, he was in the kitchen in a standoff with a knife, kitchen knife. And if I didn't have a taser, you know, I would have had to shoot him. He wasn't going to put it down, and he thought we were also trespassing in his house. And so we ended up deploying it, he dropped the knife. And then
I'll
we had
bet he did.
And then I had another similar situation with a suicidal female. Same thing, she was in the bathroom holding us at bay, kept threatening to cut herself, and
How much bigger is this, Luke?
It's a little bit bigger as far as the grip is about the same size as the one we currently have, but the base is a little bit longer, so.
You couldn't use the holster, you had to get a holster with it, or does it come with the
No,
holster?
No matter what model that you would have to get, you have to purchase new holsters. That's one of the.
Do you have the price on the holster?
Dude, holsters are $63.95, I believe. And I don't know if that's,
So is this a company that you can call and say, hey, let's make a deal if we buy, 8 of these, can you throw in the holsters?
I don't know.
Plus you have to buy batteries, plus you have to buy cartridges, so to deploy
To
them.
buy all that stuff separately?
The cartridges.
Oh, please, you know you do.
The holster cartridge is
So the first set doesn't come with the cartridge?
I don't believe so. I believe you have to.
Can we get that information? Can we get all this information for next
I
week?
have primarily most of it right here.
What are the cartridges?
The X2
22 to
is
25.
$999.95. The standard battery pack is $52.95. The holsters are $63.95. The cartridge.
So what's a total?
Is $30.75. The reason for that is these right here, these individual cartridges cost like $23 to $25.
That's as a
cartridge
double.
Is a dual cartridge, so it saves you in the long run. So like, we would, currently, these are very, very finicky in the fact that, see these little plastic doors? When you pull the trigger, these plastic doors go off and then the darts come out. These are only held on with glue, and they have to be held like that, or an adhesive, because of the fact that they have to be able to come apart easy. The unfortunate side of that, the Achilles heel to these, is that if you bang them, or if you fall on the ground like I did, the doors will pop off, and the cartridge is useless. Those cartridges are internal, and you would only have to put them in, so we wouldn't need as many cartridges on hand as what we've had to have in the past.
How many dots are in that?
2.
So, once you've shot it, that's it? You,
One and done.
okay.
Want to try
So
it?
there's only 2 in here now?
I'm thinking real serious.
Me too.
No, thank you. See, I have a medical device in the back of my head, that would not
Not be
do a
good.
taser. Well, I'd be a blubbering idiot. Not
Yeah,
that I'm
so-
not now, but...
So like, so the darts that come out, and then obviously, that's what the electrical fan is.
All right.
It's the same technology, it's just that is what they call smart technology.
Mm-hmm.
Has the ability to do a lot of different other things.
I think it's worth considering
So what is the total cost per unit?
per unit. I was
With
just going to ask that. Just
Holster, everything.
1 unit.
1 unit.
What, with your battery, your cartridge,
I wouldn't say
your
the
holster?
Holsters are different only in fact that every officer would have to have their own holster.
Right.
Because it goes on your belt.
So let's just say a holster, a
So
gun,
$999.95 is the cost of the taser.
yeah?
If you have to purchase a battery, if it doesn't come with one, I'm not 100% sure
They do
on
come
that.
with one.
And I believe that they used to come with one, so it wouldn't be something that you would have to purchase, but it may, is $52.95.
Excuse me if I'm wrong, but you're gonna need more than 1 battery per gun. If you're issuing them to each shift, that gun needs 3 batteries, because you have to change it out at the start of the
If
shift.
you leave a battery in it, like these batteries stay in the whole, this actually is a battery, and the battery slides in. This is just an extension to hold another cartridge, but this battery slides in and out. That will go in there, and that stays in there for the lifetime of the battery. So, and most of
Yeah,
these
you don't-
How do
batteries...
you recharge it?
It
It
doesn't.
doesn't. Once it runs out, you take it out, throw it out, and get a new one.
Ah, so how many per year does a battery use?
It depends on how much you use it.
Yeah.
We've been probably getting like a year to 2 years out of our batteries.
That's not
It all
bad.
depends on... it all
3,
depends on
4?
Whenever you come in, the requirement that you're supposed to do, and if you folks don't mind, it's not gonna hurt anyone, the cartridge is off. Every time you come in and you go on shift, you turn it on, you do what's called the spark test, which you squeeze it, and it just gives that little zap.
That's all the dry's done.
Right, and that's like the same technology, even though they don't recommend doing that anymore. But so what
course they
that
don't.
does is that energizes the battery in order to make sure that it's ready to go. So if one doesn't get grabbed for 2 days because it's all the way in the back or something, and we don't end up dipping into it, it might not get done for like 2 or 3 days, where one might get done 3 times a day. So there's no definite answer on how long they last, but we've been probably getting a year or two out of each battery.
All right, so we've got the holster at $52.95, the gun, now we need a cartridge,
Cartridge is $30.75.
and battery.
That was
Battery
53.
$52.95.
Oh, then the holster then. $63.95.
$63.95. So I have the approximate dollar amount. If you
Yeah.
guys don't want to do the math for 6 units, I have the...
1142 times 65 times 6 equals 68,559.
But you have to add another $1,000 to that because it's $200 each.
So you got $1,000, so you got 7,000,
Might be 205.
might be 205.
What I
10,
ended up doing
19,
is
20,
Is that for 6?
10, 20.
that's the...
1142.
So 78,5590 for 6.
For 6?
If you guys, I have like all the number breakdown in here. This was for 6 units, because originally that's what I had asked her about. So like a 6-year, the cost yearly for the warranty program in 6 units is $1,230. That's if you go with 6 units. So the warranty cost is $205 per unit per year.
So what's your
This
total
is if you
cost
go-
for 6? What's your total cost for
For
6?
6, for the holsters for everyone, and I did numbers on the heavier side. I did 20.
So you did
holsters.
more holsters than
20
units.
20 holsters, 6 batteries, 6 taser units, 10 cartridges, because that will give us enough to fill it, plus extras in case we deploy. And that came out to 7,000. Do the math real quick, because there's one thing on there that we don't have to include.
Let's go with that number just for giggles, because it's high, it's all right.
Oh, 802398.
He doesn't want his name on that number.
I try to give you as accurate as I can.
That's what the
exact
problem.
number would be $7,903.90.
Oh, it's pretty close.
So 7903.90. That's for 6 units.
And it doesn't
Obviously,
include,
that would drop by, if you took off 1 unit, that would drop that off.
I don't think we should drop on you.
By $999. And then the only other cost that you need to start up the program would be that $1,230, which would be the cost of the warranty program at $205.
So it would be $1,230 because it's 6, not 1,000, because I said,
$1,230 to that 79.
so we're at 9130, 390 total.
Where
That's
does the
just
money
about
come
what we-
from?
That's just about what we have in the special detail fund. Because we have $10,000, I think, in the special detail fund. And you can't wipe that out
Right.
totally, because then
Have nothing.
you'll have no cruiser.
There is, I don't want to speak out of...
You better talk to the chief before you do that.
Walk into this, I may be able to get us a little bit of a discount by, if we swear to, if we were going to do the 6 units, you can enter into the program with Taser under the pretense that if you take all X26s out of service, they'll give you a rebate per unit. So I may be able to get like $100 to take
Per unit.
8 units out of service.
What do you do with them?
$100 a piece, or just 100 for the whole 8?
100 apiece.
And they take them
So,
back.
and that would,
Even the ones that don't work.
right, and that would be able to take some of the cost off of the first year on anything like the TAP program, the warranty program. So it's
How
called
many do
TAP.
we have?
I believe we have 8. It's either 8 or 9. So that might be something that could help us out with the cost as well. And
You should have all of your information, everything ready to go, prepared to order them. And if there's any money left over in that budget, that could be used to offset it.
Can you get with Tim to figure out where we would take monies if we could afford it this year?
Okay.
And then report back to us next week? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
And then you
I think
get,
that would- Me personally, that would be a perfect scenario, only because now we're not building it from next year and trying to plan.
right, can you get to Taser and see what you can get them to take off the price?
Yeah, I can actually call them tomorrow. I'll be in the office tomorrow during the day. So
And if we acted on it, perhaps they can give us a break,
Right.
If you research grants.
I don't know of any grants out there for Taser.
Is that how we got the first ones?
Their own little-
No, the first
No,
one
the
was
radio.
bought by Dawson's Concrete in spite of how the Dawson Selectmen voted.
Sorry.
I voted no, and
I love it.
two male counterparts that felt they needed to donate and purchase and did.
It still stings to this day.
Yes, it does.
I didn't know that.
We can have
I'll
one of,
have no fury like the women scoring.
we can get one of
There was payback, believe me.
the broken
I
ones
bet there will be
bronzed
for years
you.
payback on that one.
We
That
can
comes
get one of
out.
the old broken ones in
Yeah,
bronze. and
bronze
have
it.
for you.
Yeah.
You can have
Say
it
thank you.
fireplace.
I know one of the male counterparts would probably love that, but I can tell you the Selectmen wouldn't. Unless I could throw darts at it.
Oh, that is funny.
So what I can do is I have all your emails.
That's your balance on your, as of August.
I can get some numbers together tomorrow. Actually, I can do my best. It's all going to come back to them getting back to me.
There could be some,
Something quick.
We can't make a decision unless we're all together next week and at Thursday, so if you can get that, make it a goal to make sure we have that information in front of us next Thursday,
Shouldn't be a problem.
then we can make a sound decision on which way, if
Way to
any
go.
way, that we go.
Right, right.
All right.
Thank you, Luke.
Very happy that you guys are open to this, and I really think it's a good sound decision to protect towns.
The last thing I ever want to hear is Tilton police officer kills suspect. If we have a viable alternative to that headline,
Then
I want to exercise that. I don't want to kill anybody.
And we're gonna be using it on you the first time we get one, so. that's all.
Outstanding.
I can't
Bring
say
it.
that I changed my vote.
Is it that important?
I'll get this to you
Yes.
guys, and if you guys want any more information about the other, like the body camera thing that I talked about, feel free to chew my ear.
Yeah,
I
Luke
think that
test-
should be
Luke
part of the
tested-
budget for
More
next
tested 'em
year.
all.
About the body
He
camera.
really put them all through the paces.
And the more information we have, the better.
I think that should be part of your budget for next year.
I think that's one of the things we talked about with the team. We've tested and evaluated a few models, and there's one or two out there that we'd like to get our hands on, so that maybe we make the best decision.
Please have your presentation for the budget committee, or for us first when we're doing the budget, so that we'll know what's going on.
Yeah, we'll be ready for that. Thank you.
I had suggested to Luke last night that perhaps maybe that we should do, John, to the Budget Committee, because Joe had just brought it up, that we should allow them to do, offer to them a ride-along to each member of the Budget Committee, and that way they could get to see the needs, the wants, the difficulties, what's going on, on a Friday or Saturday night. Take an hour or two and just take one out, and, you
Yeah.
could schedule it from now until the budget starts in
Law
October.
enforcement's always evolving, and, if somebody's like, oh, I did one 5 years ago, it's like,
Yeah.
then you're out of
different.
date.
Then you're out of date, right?
You gotta-
Exactly.
you have to
What do you
keep
think,
on.
John?
Yes, it.
Good idea, to do a ride-along with them?
I'm sure you can organize it through me, or
Yep.
the captain, and,
I'll bring it up to them on, or John can bring it up to them on next meeting, couple weeks. All
We
right,
need to
great.
discuss the location of the election in November.
Do you want to do that?
Or did
tonight?
you contact the school to see if they would accept
Not,
for November, just having police personnel in the hallway?
yeah, Luke was gonna,
actually, I just talked with Officer Patton this morning, who's the resource officer, he had met with principals as well as the superintendent. They are open to having it at the high school. I believe the last step that they're going to do is just reach out. Maybe, I think it was Charles Solis going to reach out to the town clerk, just to...
It's the Board of Selectmen's decision, not the clerk or the moderator. It's the
I think to keep
Selectmen's
them-
direct responsibility, and we can keep them in the loop. But my feeling is it would be, the next election is the first part of November. It's a very short time away. And it's always confusing to people, even though the locations are close, is to
Right.
change that location midstream. It would be nice if they would accept having 2 officers at the election location, which we had done 1 year at the presidential election for Obama, when we expected a huge turnout. And we had an officer in the hallway who prevented people from going into those classroom areas.
Right. I think...
If we could do that in November, that would allow us quite a bit of time before the March town meeting,
And then have
when
it-
we would be able to announce it, send notices out,
Right.
and examine
That's a
how we're going to
good
set
idea,
it up
Catherine.
and locate it. Pardon?
We'll end up disenfranchising people if we switch it.
Break that
You
down.
just
I
used my
know.
favorite word. Yes,
I just wanted to
exactly.
say that word, sorry.
Thank you. So,
Would the board be open to possibly shifting the entrance and exit to those doors that are facing
far end?
field?
not for the November election, there is a problem. There's no sidewalk out there. It's a very narrow way there. You're going to have handicapped people, such as the Veterans Home bus dropped off numerous times people, and when that happening, that would clog and congest that. So for handicapped people, there's no handicap parking out there.
And you're going around a corner, so when you go around the corner, when
If
the,
someone
like the veterans bus stops,
That's
and
not good.
you're there for an hour getting people off, and so there's really, you're not getting other cars to go around them because there's no room.
Right, no.
If they would accept the officer and post it in the hallway to monitor the comings and goings just for November, that would allow us plenty of time. And it would be a much easier transition
Yeah.
to move into the high school gymnasium.
Is the
Makes sense to be in
issue,
the high school only due to the fact that...
We have town meeting there anyway.
is the issue people roaming into the,
There was that happen.
Yes.
What the issue is
Security.
it goes against every security protocol you could ever have in reference to a school nowadays with having doors unlocked. And so, I understand what you're saying, I agree that it's an easier transition, but the ultimate decision may or may not end up coming from the school because they're adamant about leaving those doors unlocked, because if somebody walks in and immediately kills the officer, it's in the hallway, now they have full view of the building. Not to say that they couldn't gain access by breaking a window and getting in, but I think it's the idea behind having that whole bank of doors unlocked is what is unsettling to them.
Couldn't the side door to the gym be utilized right there next to the
It's not
handicap?
ADA accessible.
Nah, you couldn't get in and out, there's no ramp. You have to step up to get in there, don't
It'd be
you?
difficult, I mean, I guess we could, but it'd be difficult. There's also an issue of
we could make
the flow through,
Yeah.
because there's protected areas. When somebody comes in to vote, they have to come in, go through the voting
One way
process
and
and
out
leave.
another.
They can't come back into the other area, so there'd be that flow issue.
And they still have the hall, they still have to go out in the hallway to leave, so that's I think that's gonna be the biggest hiccup, what we can do is we can talk to...
It would be one time, it would be just the fall, and then we would be on board to go into the high school, and from that point on.
I can try to reach
Right.
out to the superintendent as well as the facilities director of St. Louis and the principals, and we can see what if we can barter a deal to have extra presence for this last one, and then starting at the next election in 2015, having them at the high school, and
Were they
to notify residents and whatnot.
amiable about us using the gymnasium at the high school?
They're in favor of that much more than, so, it's one of those things where I think now everybody's like, God, why didn't we do this years ago? You know, it's like...
And that's a fine question.
It's one of, that's, so what we want to do is we want, it's their house, it's their rules, so we just want to make sure that we do it as seamless as possible without ruffling their feathers, because you hate them to be like, well, don't do it here, I'll have it at town hall.
We do have the chairman of the school board behind us. Would you like to put some input on that, or do you leave that up to the administration staff of the school? I would too.
Well, we're definitely in support of all, so I'll get a better answer for you, and I can get back to that later.
All right,
Excellent, thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Moving right along.
Told you. Tried to warn you. Okay, Mike. You're up. No, that's fine. Yeah, do we need the chief for anything later?
I have some questions, but nothing that has to be asked on, just questions.
I don't think so.
You can just give him
I
a
have
call.
one question before you leave, if that's what you're trying to do. Do we have officers patrolling Main Street regularly?
That's it.
I know you can't be there.
Shipped, and I started walking before I came up here, I'm gonna go finish up right now.
Okay,
Everyone's
because-
been chipping in.
Well, the bicyclists are quite an issue. And then you can't be there all the time. We can't have an officer stationed there 24 hours a day.
Should we put some spike strips out there?
I'd love to.
Self-deploying tasers.
I might borrow a taser.
Everyone's really trying
like
to get
that.
down there.
We gotta use
You never know.
Tasers?
Joe, do you want to call him?
Yeah, I'll be in
Well,
touch.
think of anything else, I'll be in touch. Email me or phone.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
So here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
I guess one of the reasons that we were not confused about things, but we had lack of information, and I think John has arranged for you to come in to fill us in on what's happening with the school formula committee, because they're reached almost a finalized.
Correct.
Okay.
I forwarded a bunch of information in the last couple of days. I got you the original documents that the formula committee had to work with, and then I also sent later in the day today some charts and graphs with some of the data that the committee had requested from Cheryl to see what a change in the formula would look like. Currently, we're at a 70-30, which is 70% ADM, 30 EV. The committee is ultimately feeling like the current formula is working. We did take a look at what would happen if we took a look at the numbers and averaged them over a 3-year period, just, for consistency, so that no town would see spikes in their assessed value, or in their portion for the district. And what we found when we looked at the 3-year averaging is it really didn't do a whole lot. The numbers were still fairly consistent. So we did schedule a meeting it's actually scheduled for next Wednesday, and the idea is that we are going, it sounds to me like all of the committee members are on board for making a recommendation that we do not make a change to the formula, based on the data that we've looked at. The committee report will include some recommendations, but they're more so recommendations for the 3 towns, and trying to do some things that are more cohesive so that we don't see those spikes. What we tended to find, or one of the biggest variables that we found, is when towns are doing their assessments. And no town is doing their assessment on the same cycle. So when you have the towns doing their assessments on a different cycle, that definitely will cause a spike in contributions. So what we discovered was Northfield did theirs in 12, Samberton did theirs in 13, and Tilton in 14.
But we had ours scheduled, we were going to go along with Northfield, and then Northfield changed.
So,
That's how it made it, that's how it got skewed.
Well, it's funny, because there were some conversations at the last meeting, everybody was saying, well, wouldn't it be great if the same three-bedroom Cape was the same value in all three towns? And we don't have a group of realtors there. So I stepped back and said, you're never going to get the same three-bedroom Cape to be the same value in all three towns. However, they felt that there was some benefit if the three towns could get together and get onto the same cycle, so that everybody's assessed value is moving at the same time. I don't know how realistic that is, because obviously it's a 5-year cycle, and
We just did ours.
that would require Tilton doing theirs earlier. And
Yeah, it
so-
would
Which is
requires-
about $60,000 or to
Yeah.
$100,000 for us to jump up.
Correct.
Right.
So,
Also, our value for this year, our value has dropped over $20 million. So this is the first time we've been below 500 million in assessed value. So I don't know if that's to our advantage or disadvantage, but when they end up equalizing it, you know, right now, then we're closer to the other community. Our value's getting closer to the other communities.
right. And by not being on the same cycle, if we're for instance, let's say the market changes and things get significantly better, you're going to find Northfield's assessed value moving up more rapidly than Sanborn's and Tilton's, because we're behind. So it's kind of a crapshoot when when you're 12, 13, 14, you're technically 3 years apart, or 2 to 3 years apart on assessed value, and a lot can happen in 3 years. You can have something devastating happen to the economy and have all your assessed values drop because of the real estate market, and that would affect one of the towns and not the other two. Or it would take the other two some time to catch up. So I know that's one of the recommendations from the committee, whether the three towns could get together and come up with some sort of solution, I don't know. But that is one of our biggest recommendations.
When did Sanborn do theirs?
2013.
And Northfield did theirs in 2012, right?
12.
Yeah, if Northfield hadn't changed, all three towns would have been able to have done it at 2013.
So, there you have it.
In a nutshell.
The other thing that, when we take a look at, the formula itself, Tilton's ADM is on the rise.
I see that.
So when you take a look at the numbers over time, Tilton's numbers are increasing, which is, of course, going to increase the share.
Oh, yeah.
But our share, it's actually, we're the middle. We're not the highest, we're not the lowest.
Are you talking cost per student?
Cost per student, I think
No,
ours is
the
higher.
historical ADM and
It always has been.
equalized.
And that's because
And
we
we've
don't,
never adjusted the formula to address that, ever.
get the aid.
We don't take into consideration the aid that each town's get. It used to be pooled, and it was subtracted from the
What's the-
total cost, and then that's what was divided. So Tilton still pays
And you
much more per capita than the rest of the towns.
Which one is that
student.
on for the per capita one? Student.
It's probably, I don't think I have that piece with me because I didn't print that first folder I sent over.
I didn't think that I looked for that the other day, I don't think we have it. I was looking at the equalized valuation and the ADM.
Well, for 14, 15 estimates on a 70/30, if you take a look at page 18 on the package from the 6th of August, there's a chart.
I don't have one from the 6th of August.
They're all broken down to titles.
Okay.
And they,
I mean, I can share, I can read it for you.
what's the title on that?
This is just, it's called cost per pupil, local tax weighted apportionment,
No, we don't have it.
and it just says cost per pupil, local taxes, right on
Okay.
the,
Oh, okay. cost people. What does it say up on the side there on the corner, left-hand corner?
What was
Just
the
form-
date?
Well, it's on the packet from August 6th, which would have been the email I sent later today.
Oh,
I have meeting minutes August 6th. Is it in that packet?
Did you get that?
Or is it just
Well,
the
I
minute?
forwarded it all to Tim to put on the web, on your drive.
Okay.
I printed out some of them, but I don't have that one.
I mean, I can tell you what, I can tell you what it is.
Tim.
Northfield's is 5,043, and we're talking rates based on the 14-15 estimates. So 5,043 for Northfield, 13,388 for Samberton, and 11,320 for Tilton.
in Northfield's 5,000?
Because of the state aid.
Because of the state aid they get.
That's-
Because what you have is you have the formula,
Yeah,
which figures out everybody's share.
yeah.
And then you credit, then each town gets their state aid credited to the amount. And then the balance is what they have to raise and appropriate
Why do they get so much state aid?
because of the demographics.
Low property values and high ADM, high number of
Free and reduced.
free and reduced lunch. Do they include ESL, English as a speaking language?
Well, interestingly enough, there
Quite
is,
the formula.
there's no exact science to how adequate education aid's handed out. There are all kinds, I've got a 2-page sheet, which is a summary, and, I mean, it's based on, see if I can simplify it for you.
And they usually tinker with that every biennium.
They do.
It's under 11 NHDOE on your PDF.
It's based on a pupil cost of $34.98.30, and then you get $17.49.15 for a free and reduced meal eligible student. You get $18.81.98 for a special education student. You get $684.45 for an English language learner receiving English language instruction. ELL students are identified in the ESOL fall data collection. And then you get an additional $684.45 for each third grade pupil who is not tested at proficient. So there's all kinds of factors that come into play when figuring out how much aid a community gets. And Northfield fits the criteria to get more of those dollars.
So is it fair to say that if the formula, say they were to reduce the ADM share, say to 60%, I'm just throwing that out, all that would do would increase more state aid? Because they look at don't they look at their tax effort too, on what they're paying in that formula? So would increasing the percentage of ADM increase the amount of state aid? Because I remember that we studied that, because any changes had to make sure that there wasn't sufficient state aid coming back that could absorb that increase.
I'd like
believe
to
you're
meet the
correct.
person that figured out this formula.
There aren't too many people that can figure it out.
$684 for each third grade pupil who is not tested at proficient level or above in the reading component of the state assessment,
During the full moon.
and who is not eligible to receive
The only
additional
way, if you were going to look at the cost per capita per town, the only thing you could do is go back to the sharing of the ADM.
And I don't think we can do that.
No, I think it's legislatively that would have to be addressed. It can't be addressed on a local level, it has to be addressed on a state
Right, but the
level.
reason we changed that at the legislature, because we couldn't change the formula until we changed that, because Northfield statistics were canceling out Tilton statistics, so neither town got anything. So by separating as two pre-existing districts, each town then could get its own.
So has anybody done a study to the effect that would it still be cheaper to be in a district?
Well, in order to...
I think that horse is
Well,
out of the
well,
barn.
so- well,
I don't know,
let me-
I'm not a
let me-
school
Yes, we
person,
did.
so I don't
In
I was
know.
order-
on that committee that did that
It's very
study.
similar to taking a look at, like, leaving another entity. If one town leaves, you've got to, one, pay your share of the debt. And then you've got to create new schools, because you're not entitled to any of the buildings that are part of the cooperative school district. So I don't believe that there would be a cost benefit. Hill's, look at what Hill's going through right now.
They left the
They're
district.
trying to leave Franklin, and they're trying to find somebody to buddy with.
Schools
And-
that have left, that have like either tuitioned kids in or were part of a co-op or an area school, they ended up building their own schools, like Bow and I mean, those, and then,
What was the district that was splitting when we changed this formula? They had to go to the legislature to allow it to take place, and they did, because the school district, and they were, I think we're the only ones that's, are we the only town that's 3? The district that's 3?
there's...
No, Timberlane is 4.
Is it?
Yeah,
They,
There's a
um,
paper
but
that
they-
has all the other co-ops.
They would not allow them
Formulas.
to leave the district, and they had to do it either legally or legislatively.
You do have to go, yes.
But it was successful, and they
Hill-
were very delighted that they left.
Hill's
I know,
working,
because we talked to them.
like Hill's working on that right now. They're trying to leave Franklin, but what they're trying to do, because it's not cost-effective for them to build
They're
their
trying
own
to go to
schools,
another district.
they're trying to go to Newfound or Winnisquam. Those are the two that they have their eye on. But
Busing would be for us.
you've got busing, and I've seen their EFT, and it's, or their proposal, and it's not, there's too many unanswered questions. With regards to whether or not it would be an advantage to
Well, school
Winnisquam.
districts have been in existence since the 60s, so, I mean, it's worked for a lot of people. I was just curious to see if anybody's recently done that. I know we recently did that when they did the fire, whether it was advantageous to stay in the district or not. I just didn't even,
And of course, that would,
I'm stepping on someone's toe. Sorry.
well, and that would probably come from the town level, not necessarily the school district level.
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
Huh. It's a science, that's for sure.
It is.
And a greater portion of our taxes.
Yes.
Did you play with formulas to see how they would play out?
We did.
I think we tweaked it up and down.
We took a look at everything from
Increasing ADM by 5%?
80-20, 75-25, 70-30, 65-35, 60-40, 50-50. We took a look at all that. And interestingly enough, if you take a look at Tilton, it's pretty, here's the Tilton's the yellow. When you take a look at what happens to Tilton along the way, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Although I can tell you it makes a whole lot of difference to some of the other, it makes a huge difference to Samberton. Because what would happen in some of these scenarios is you'd see Samberton picking up.
Did you
the
look at
difference.
straight ADM?
We did not look at straight ADM.
It's property tax values that pay for, whole property tax system, is that you pay according to your assessed value.
Well, think of how ancient that is and
Well, then
how
they-
unfair that is to a lot of people, but it would be interesting to see what straight ADM would have done.
From that person.
I mean, we can kind of figure it out by knowing who pays the
Johnson?
most, but...
I didn't see it.
Was Bruce Johnson everybody got that?
Well, and right now, what I can tell you is if you look,
You got that right, Joyce. I forwarded it to you.
Yeah, I'll look again. I'll check
One
the
of the
email.
things that was, when we looked through all the different formulas and tweaking it different ways, and saw that it didn't make a huge difference for Tilton, was the risk of bringing it up for a change this year. If we bring it up for a change, then it goes to the floor where it can be modified to be something completely different than what you thought the change would be. If we leave it open without a change, then each year it could be brought forward, which would give you enough of a warning to have muster your troops as well, or
We
to
were
study it.
successful in the huge change in the formula that we have now. That was, I think we can all remember that meeting.
Right, but that
It was
was
standing
because
room
all
only.
the,
It was
all the,
close.
everybody
That's
agreed
right.
to it.
That was-
The boards of
Agreed to-
selectmen and,
Yeah.
yes.
That was
And
quite
Budget
the
Committee
note.
and school board members all agreed that that was what was going forward.
Yeah, the key to that formula change was the
Cooperation
the
between the
cooperation and the
communities.
slow, the slow
But
change.
that's what you'd have to
Phasing it
do
in.
any change.
Correct.
Well, to
So
make us.
I wouldn't let that stop me from suggesting a change. If we garnered it once, we could garner it again.
I guess we
have
didn't-
it well thought out. You have to have it well thought out to make a change, because the same thing could happen that happened in #86, when Samberton came in
No, we had
and
some,
changed it.
we had some great people on our formula committee. I
Well-
think they would have been quite capable of handling that,
And I don't see,
if they were going to suggest that.
Well, I'm just saying that it has to be all three towns, because it's three towns voting on it. And in order to make sure, because I helped work to get the vote out for Northfield, to make sure that Northfield would go and vote for Tilton, because votes between Samberton and Northfield could have canceled it out. So our selectmen sent letters, they said, no, Northfield, go vote for this, because it's good for the district. Yeah, it's going to increase our tax, they voted to increase their taxes. And we said, you got to get out there and vote for it. So it was a joint three-town community effort to make that change, and that's why it was able to happen.
So
But it took
if-
us a long ways to get to that
If we did-
cooperation, because we didn't have...
If we did
months.
change it and make any changes, we'd have to live with that, whatever it was changed for 5 years. So regardless if we got what we wanted or it was tweaked to be something we didn't want, we'd have 5 years of that. Whereas now we're at the,
Catherine, here's an interesting statistic for you. If I look at these charts, 70, with a, at 70-30 for 14, Tilton is 31.2%. And if I look solely at ADM, Tilton's at 31.3%.
That's what I wanted to know. That's
Okay?
interesting, yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at it that way, we'd actually pay more.
That's-
By one
File.
tenth of 1%. But
And I'm back to the
That's
only way...
actual money when I
to
write
lower
the
that per
check,
capita
so-
cost is to readdress the ADM and how it's distributed. And if the communities could agree without legislatively or court to pool that,
and
subtract.
you're looking at an act through legislation, not...
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know if the communities would be able to, would be allowed to make that decision to pool the ADM once again, or if they're specifically...
You mean the
was-
state aid?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm looking at...
I know what you mean.
I'm looking at the ADMs.
you
that's what I'm
saw that
saying.
letter from Bruce Johnson.
Yeah, but
He's
that's-
setting out
that's
to
the-
try
yeah.
and get them to increase, bring us all.
Right.
So on an ADM formula, a little bit back to your question, it would be Samberton that would benefit the most, because
Sure,
Samberton's...
they have the least.
Because they're at 22.3, but
Yeah.
yet the 70-30 is at a 26.7. And so Northfield's drop or increase going from, it's Samberton and Northfield that would have the switch off. We seem to be pretty
Yep.
stable right there, no matter what we look at. Now, when we take a look at our new EV, I don't know what that will do.
Did they look, right now, all the statistics that you use that go into the 70-30, aren't they like 2 years behind? Was there any talk about trying to get more current figures?
We don't have a choice. We have to use
The
that data
state
because
aid,
that's the
yeah.
data that gets reported back to us. It's 2 years, it's a,
That's the Department of Education.
correct.
And that's why you looked at averaging it over 3 years.
But based on Tilton's trend, I don't know as if you'd want to up to today's info. Because Tilton's trend right now is an increase in ADM. So we actually benefit
One's
by
but-
having, we actually benefit by having the data be 2 years old if our ADM is growing. So hopefully that answers some of your, I mean,
Yep.
you know, when we sit and look at the data, I mean, quite honestly, we're not the ones that should probably be fighting.
That's excellent. It's an excellent update, though.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's, Right, wouldn't you agree? It's, if anybody would probably have a problem with the current the current arrangement, it would be Northfield and Samberton, because they're the ones that are a little bit off askew.
Any more questions for Mike? Great. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you coming in.
I can
Such a
give you,
short notice.
I can give you an update. Our preliminary budget's up.
Don't even tell me.
How big is it?
2 point.
Twos?
Excuse me?
Is that due to
2.5%?
mainly payroll, or?
It's due to negotiated agreements, and it's due to the new retirement piece.
Well,
That you
people
can't
die
help.
for.
And it's up that much,
We kind of expected that.
and we're retiring a bond.
If you didn't retire, the bond would still be up.
Oh, if we didn't retire the bond, it'd be another $500,000. It's 460,000 or something.
Wow.
So,
You invited him here because why?
I know. Well, I figured I'd share it with you, because
Where are those tomatoes?
everybody's
Where are
getting
those
into budget
tomatoes?
mode, and, I mean, and that's just that's just based on everything that we know.
Right.
That's nothing, that's zero changes to the budget.
No, that's your budget, the school board's budget.
That's the school board's budget. It's actually not even our budget. It's literally the BA taking a look at all of our line items and taking a look at what the retirement increase is going to be, what the negotiated agreements are going to be, and then taking our cost savings, like from retiring bonds, and what that bottom line looks to this existing budget.
So the budget
So-
committee isn't going to be able to do any better.
Right, so if they level
'Cause
fund,
those
you're
are-
still going up by 2.5%.
400,000.
Those are fixed costs,
Correct.
so the budget committee
That's
can't
just-
improve on that.
That's just fixed costs.
Wow.
So can you take all of your surplus and just, put it all into capital reserve funds? Do you ever return
We
anything
can,
back?
we have the opportunity to keep our surplus funds, but we decided not
Okay, good.
to move that forward. We felt it should be returned. And this year, it's only 56,000.
Okay.
How will we spend it?
Well, it's 56,000.
To the district.
Asbestos and
towns.
hot water.
No, I understand that.
It's nothing.
It's like, that's gonna put a buck in my
And
pocket.
it goes back to how the state aid is given out, right?
And the initial budget estimates from the last,
The way they give it out is not the same way they want it
They
returned.
want it returned.
Oh, no, I'm sure it's not.
the initial budget,
Who represents us in the legislature?
1,000.
increased our estimated fund balance in their projections for this year. So the tax impact is going to be slightly greater than what was at district meeting. Not by a huge
There
amount, but
goes
it's
my
by like
dollar.
170,000 or something.
How are you doing on the hot water in the middle school?
We've put it out to bid, and nobody showed up.
Well.
We scheduled a day and time for contractors to come and do a walkthrough so that they could then submit a bid, and nobody showed up. So we're putting it back out, and we're expanding our,
For hot water in the school.
They have a conditional approval right now because of the hot water.
so we're putting it out again, and we're going into a wider market.
Tell me nobody responded at all.
Nope.
Everyone must be
This must
really
be
busy.
good.
Nobody responded.
Everyone must be really busy this time of
Mention
year.
that.
I know we pay our
Why, we have to
bills.
work nights
I
and
know.
weekends or something, or?
We just wanted to know how much it was going to cost. I mean, we have the money set aside, it's just, we need to know, we need to be able to,
Why wouldn't Brian have bid on that? Probably didn't know about it.
it'll be advertised again.
You hear that, folks? They have the money set aside.
It'll be advertised again.
Plumbing?
Yep.
Yeah, heating, hot water, so we can get off conditional approval.
Is it heating too, or?
It's
No.
hot water to the bathroom sinks.
It's hot water to everywhere except for the kitchen, which has, I think, its own heating.
Separate?
Basically bathroom, bathroom
It's
sinks is the
bathrooms,
big
nurse's
one.
station, because that's pretty much what's left.
Yeah, it's sinks.
The, yeah. Yep, the showers and the,
I mean, we get hot
Gym
water,
area.
but it takes so long to get there, I think, that,
it
right?
never reached proper temperature.
I mean, you'd have to leave it on for,
Well, I was there, I left the thermometer in there for 15 minutes.
yeah, I
But it
think,
never attained it.
I think that
Well, the
the
health
the route
officer's causing
itself is so, yes.
Yeah.
That's a nefarious health officer.
Health office is causing this problem.
Yeah.
So the showers are cold.
They're tepid.
Well, that'll get them in and out of those showers quicker, won't it?
Save on water.
Unfortunately. Well, and the ludicrous thing is all the accounts out there say, in order for you to sanitize your hands, it really isn't the temperature of the water.
No.
It's the amount of time that you're underneath that
That's
water.
Correct.
So,
So why do we need to increase
the
the hot water?
standards, today's
Basically, you can't
standards,
get your water hot enough.
today's standards,
sanitize your
I
hands.
tried, today's standards, they're going by temperature, they haven't changed it, so
Wow.
I
You
did
need to stay in
try.
the office.
You all set with me?
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for...
Are there any concerns from this board with regards to us recommending
No, you-
no change?
For me, you answered all my questions,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
And if you've answered her, all her questions...
You're doing good.
You're doing good.
Not so.
I mean, mind you, the
They're just
committee,
picking on me.
mind you, the committee only makes a recommendation to the school board, and the school board takes that information and can do what it wants, but I suspect the school board will go with the committee.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. All right,
Thank you for having him come in.
Joyce, I think you're next.
Almost done.
Tim texted
all right.
My dashboard appears and disappears, and it's disappeared.
Type it in at the top.
I didn't find it in the dashboard.
I sent them all over to be up with that.
It's not in, it's under projects.
Appreciate it. My feet are freezing.
Go to your dashboard and then projects.
Wigging my socks.
Yeah, I didn't find it in mine. I had to go to the email.
Go to your drive, right
I
there,
did.
and then go up, type it in at the top.
It's only 7:02.
Dashboard, right?
Yeah.
I did the search. Yeah. There you go.
Well, you gotta type it in.
No, I did. I've done it.
Type in dashboard board?
Yeah.
Oh,
See, that's the...
yeah, it's not in my, I call
Hi,
it the
Joyce.
bumper. It's not in my bumper either. I went to the email.
Did you get me?
Clicked on the link that they sent.
Yeah,
I
I'd
didn't
love one.
find
Yeah,
it
'cause
there.
but last night, it appeared for about 20 minutes.
Did you want to talk about that in non-public?
No.
But
Yeah, well, I think we should do it in non-public.
Yeah, I think so too, with what I've got to say.
that letter, yeah.
No,
No.
this is
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Lakes Region Mutual Aid.
Yep.
All right, so it'd be,
Did everybody sign this? No.
legal, correspondence from attorney, and that. I don't know where the week goes.
Me neither.
All right, so all of you signed the revised MS1. And what's interesting, when I did a comparison, we are down 20 million. $20,701,000. Land values, and I didn't bother to do the percentages, but what really went down was land values. Building values, pretty much the same. Commercial, almost identical. Public utilities went up, and our exemptions went down. So just overall, in the buildings, the ones that really took the hit was manufactured housing and residential. So our total net assessed value for purposes of taxes is $499,613 million. So, and we'll be able to hopefully run our tax bills on November 5th, the day after elections. So that's good. Tuesday, September 23rd at 6:30 PM, you're on the agenda for a joint board meeting with Northfield Selectmen to review the Cannon Bridge bids and figure out what you want to do.
I won't be there.
You have planning board?
Planning board meeting. We have a speaker.
Sure, we got this on.
That's why I thought they were coming to one of our
I have
meetings.
6:30 on the 23rd, right?
How many can meet that night?
What day is it?
It's a Tuesday evening.
I can.
We need Catherine there.
It is critical. The contractors that I've spoken to never even got the bid. So the list that they're using is very selective. They're not sending it out broad enough. I have talked to at least 4 contractors that would have bid on it. And I talked to, Route 3A, brain died, who they did send it to, who would have bid on it if they had more time, because they're booked up until like next spring. And most of the big outfits who they asked to bid on it are bid out that far in advance.
Well, can you give them the names of these companies?
I can give them some names, yes.
Is it possible that we could do it on the 30th? Do they meet every other week?
No, the reason they couldn't do it on Thursdays was because Kevin can't be there.
No, I understand that, but could we do it on the 30th? There's no planning board on Tuesday evening, the 30th.
Okay.
Is there a timeline for something that we had?
That's what I'm asking Joyce, if there's a timeline to
No.
it.
No, I can't be there on the 30th, but that's okay. I'm not a bridge expert on any level.
Me either.
The 23rd was the first Tuesday that board members were available.
Right. I would be in favor of, how does everybody else feel, but I would be in favor of making sure that Catherine was a part of that discussion, and see if they had room on the 30th to meet with us instead of the 23rd. If not, then we'll go it alone. You're going to go with us, right?
I was planning on going. And Dennis, too.
So,
It looks like I'm available either night, Tuesday.
I'm available either night.
These are
I would
good.
really prefer Catherine there, though.
Well, I can make the earlier one, but I have a planning commission thing that night.
Can you try in the morning and let us know?
Sure.
And confirm it with us?
And then what Peg had suggested on talking about the flag is discuss that when you're meeting with them.
Oh, now I really want
It's so simple. In order to take the flag down, you have to pull the pole out of the sleeve anyway.
Right.
Why not just pull it out and cap it? I can't believe that they'd want to leave it there and, against all flag etiquette. It seems so simple, but
Right.
if that's what they want.
I'm not sure if do they realize that there's no rope to take it up and
Yes.
down?
And it's just stuck in a sleeve in the ground.
So that's, if we took it out, where would we store it? Is that what the
The
issue
pole,
was?
you mean?
Yeah.
I could tell
One
you
of the
where you
town
could.
garages. I mean, it would be much better to, if they want to have a flag out there, put a real flagpole out there that meets the etiquette, or just put one on.
Well, I guess they want to decide that at a meeting.
So they want to decide it at a meeting with us?
Well, that's what one of them had suggested. Well, why don't we just wait and have a
We'll all
discussion?
be there at
Decide
one
when
time
you're all-
anyway.
Sounds good to me. When we
Keep our
talk about the
fingers
bridge, we'll
crossed
talk
that there
about
are no
the
issues
flag.
between now and then when the flag has to be lowered, heaven forbid.
Well, then we'll be in the same position that we've been in all along.
Embarrassed.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, Thursday, September 25th, the associates at Lowe's will be beginning work on the gazebo. The Olympic Stains isn't able to dip the shingles, so the associates will have to be staining them.
So what time will they be there?
I don't have a definite time.
When is that?
Thursday, September 25th, and they plan to have all the work completed by October 1st, but if not, it would be October 3rd at the latest. And I've worked it out with Dennis that he has a trailer, and a tractor, so they can put the trailer on the island, and then when it's full, the tractor can pull it out, and then they'll just hook the trailer on the back of the pickup and take it to
When was the completion
highway.
date?
Pardon me?
Completion date?
Latest is the 3rd,
Latest is the 3rd.
hoping for the 1st.
So they're going for the weather and all that stuff.
And the first thing that they'll be working on it all week long, but the first thing will be the gazebo, and then towards the end, the people in the landscaping department will be redoing the beds, the flower beds. And I notified Northfield of this as well.
Would you let Allison know, too?
I haven't yet. I haven't written I just got the information from Robin on what they call this. It's Our Heroes Volunteering to Improve the Community, so I could do a press release. And when I was doing that, I was going to notify Allison.
Okay.
So the flag decision will wait until you meet with Northfield, which we're going to try and do on the 30th. I received an email request from Senator Forrester wanting to know that if on Monday, October 6th, she was hosting a tour of the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services Commissioner, and she wanted to host one in Tilton, and she wanted to know if we could recommend a space that they would be able to use from 9 to 10:30, and she expected about 20 people, and I said I would bring it to the board, because that would be up here if we had space, and we have offices here, so I told her I would get back to her after tonight's meeting.
There's nothing going on up here?
Well, you
It's a
work
Monday.
here, and
You work here in
it's during the
Joanna.
day. It's during the day. 9 to 10:30.
Joanna is
I'm
up
a
here.
health officer, so is it something I would attend anyway?
Well, good.
But so the only other person would be Johanna.
What date is it?
October 6th.
I think
What
you give it ample amount of time, you'll be all right.
What time?
From 9 to 10 in the morning,
Oh, it's just an hour?
hour and a half.
9 to 10:30.
I'm sorry, yeah, 9 to 10:30.
Yeah, I would say go ahead and
And let Joanna know.
let her know and let Joanna know. It's only right.
Bless you.
Okay, I had in the to be signed, they wanted a separate letter reappointing Joe for the 4-year term. Your term with Lakes Region Planning Commission expires in November. We had sent them a letter earlier saying that you were our representative, but they want a separate letter, so I think you all
Of
signed it.
reappointment?
Yeah.
I think we signed it.
I think you all signed it.
No, it's in there anyway. I signed it.
You signed it, reappointing yourself.
I approve.
Did I take it out? Thought I saw it in there. It's not in there. Did I give it to you, Catherine?
What?
Oh, yeah, Pat and Catherine and Al, oh, Catherine signed it. Pat and Al need to sign it.
We don't need a motion or anything, right? We
Oh,
just,
you already did it back in April.
okay.
And last Friday, Pat and I and Joe joined Susan Susi and C.R. Willicke and Dennis Allen. We did a site visit on Califf Hill Road. We rode the road and familiarized ourselves with it, where the bad spots were and what they were going to do. It's going before Governor and Council, our state aid highway request in October. As soon as that passes, an agreement will be coming to the selectmen to sign. And in that will be a timeline and when the money will be made available. Right now, they're looking that engineering can begin in the summer of 2016, which will really be here before we know it, which is the state's fiscal year 17. And then construction would start in the summer of 18, and which would be their fiscal year 19. Thank you. And then,
So the state said in effect that for the next 3.5 years, they're out of luck.
well, they are coming back to make a couple of improvements this fall, and Catherine, I'll let you chime in on that since you spoke directly to Was it Mark or Bill you spoke
Let me
to?
get this straight in my head as well. At such time as fiscal year 19 or whatever, and they redo that road, they're gonna expect us to take the road, huh?
Correct.
That means we're gonna have to bond money. When do they want the bond?
We already
We have the-
got
We have the authority to bond. When do they want the money?
not until 2019,
We'll have to bond for the engineer. which
the
will-
engineer in 2017-18.
Yeah,
Right.
because we have to,
And we
we'll
have to
be,
bond the entire amount, and they're gonna pay us back, maybe.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, well, that's why I say maybe. I appreciate the fact that they came out there, and I appreciate the fact that we're kind of getting on a list somewhere. And I've just got a whole issue with DOT and the condition they've allowed that road to deteriorate to after collecting that tax money and widening Route 93. And I'm not even going to talk anymore because I'm just going to start ranting at DOT. In the meantime, we do have a little bit of relief on that corner with the glacier, so that hopefully the school bus will be safer. Hopefully, that's part of the work they're going to do this fall, right?
They're coming in next Tuesday.
the
The
25th.
first thing they're going to do is mow. They got to cut all the brush back, and then they'll start in.
That's part of the 10-year plan, is it? Once every 10 years? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll shut up. Sorry, Catherine, go ahead.
Don't get me started. They're going to go 100 feet towards Samerton, and then 500 feet in the other direction. They talked about 3 catch basins, it's all drainage work.
Yes, indeed it is.
Not going to blast, which is my main concern. Blasting would definitely remove that ledge back far enough.
And that's easy indicated.
They're going to go in there with a piece of equipment with a hammer. I suspect an excavator or backhoe with a hammer attachment, and try to knock it all down that way. They think it's pretty, well, they looked at it.
They're like not from New Hampshire. Rocks will
looked at
continue
it
to come
and
up.
thought that it was fractured enough that they could break it up that way. It's definitely going to be cheaper, but my suggestion is that we kind of have Dennis monitor it. It is a state road, but this is a state road
That we're going to
gonna be
own.
owning if we follow through with this project.
Right.
So I
And
think
if
with-
they were to half-ass
This
this,
is
just if, that's an if.
if this doesn't work, we're going to be addressing it again on our own. So I suggest we have Dennis kind of monitor the chiseling back of that ledge, and, I'd like him to be really independent and let us know if he feels it was sufficient. I mean, I suspect it's going to be, but
My head hurts. Jesus.
The other thing they're going to be doing in the summer of 15 is they're going to be spot shimming Caleb Hill Road.
drives me nuts.
Well, we
In
haven't
the-
voted to bond
when?
it yet.
It's the summer of
We haven't
15.
voted to
Next summer.
accept it yet,
They'll smooth it out a
as
little
I
bit.
know.
And when they reclaim it, we get that, whatever they put down, we just reclaim anyway. So it's not like it's going to waste.
But it's such a mess.
Well, it's working in the right direction.
Baby steps.
On our pockets.
Baby steps, yeah.
So,
All right, so that's that. Caleb Hill Road. That you did. Our Right to Know workshop, we had about 18 to 20 people here, and it was very cozy and comfortable. I thought it was great meeting space, and there was a lot of opportunity for questions.
It was an excellent session.
Yep.
It was one of the better 91A sessions I've been to.
And what was interesting is, I think you were the only selectman, right? Or was that gentleman sitting over there a selectman?
No, this
Well,
gentleman
I'm
sitting
sorry,
next to me
I'm
was a
sorry.
selectman, too.
Yep, But the gentleman sitting in the second row, was he a selectman?
No,
Was this directly behind us the other night?
no, the fellow sitting here, he wasn't a selectman, administrator.
Oh, he was? Okay, because I didn't think there were any town administrators there.
Yeah, he was a town administrator.
The one?
But a lot of people from planning,
A lot of planning.
and they came as far as Unity and Wakefield. So, I was...
Sorry, it wasn't around.
Okay, we only received one resume, in response to the CDBG consultant for the Windy Hill project. This is, I didn't see that. That should still be in your Selectmen's FYI, her resume.
I don't know.
I never
what
took it
FYI
out.
is.
I never
haven't
took it
seen
out.
the FYI so far.
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
What?
Said it.
What did you say?
It really isn't debatable.
So I'm recommending that the board enter into a consulting contract for the CDBG Windy Hill Infrastructure Feasibility Study Project. It's been approved by Governor and Council. We have the signed contract, so we're ready to go.
So we need to approve the consultant?
Yes, and the sooner the better. The sooner we can get this thing going, the better, because they've
Motion that we approve Donna Lane.
got some septic problems. Oh, wait, no, that's the other one, sorry.
So, what exactly are her obligations to that grant? Does she oversee the paying of contractors and whatnot? So in this case, it would be just engineers, I suppose, or consultants, because they're not any, that's what they're doing. Is she responsible for making?
It would be an
certain
engineering consult, yeah.
That all bills are paid?
Yeah, she's responsible for making sure that we operate the grant in accordance with the grant guidelines. She assures that all the payments are made properly. Any payments that are approved, the selectmen sign off on them. So she would submit those reimbursements, because it's on a reimbursement basis. So you have control over signing the payment requisition.
But that wouldn't notify us if there were outstanding bills. I'd have conversations with entities that have had CDBG grants, and there were contractors that didn't get paid. And number one, in a timely fashion, and I think there is at least two that didn't get paid at all.
All right, well, the one you may be
Who is
referring
She
to,
is,
she's
because-
only responsible for the CDBG portion, not any other community loan fund payments or rural development payments. No control over those, just the CDBG.
CDBG administration responsibilities include record-keeping, federal regulation compliance, reporting, financial accounting, meetings, and supervision. The maximum administration budget is $1,200. The project is funded through a community block grant from the Community Development Finance Authority under the provisions and subject to the requirements of Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974.
I had this conversation with Joyce the other day, so I just want to make sure the rest of you had the same benefit that I did.
With the,
This woman is experienced in this kind of work.
Yes.
yes,
We've used her before, have we
Yeah,
not?
we have.
This is what, the third?
Third one, I think.
yes,
I recognize
since
the
I've been here,
names
it's been
from
the third.
before, but
Yeah.
She did White Rock, and is she
What
not
did she do?
assisting?
Guess.
With Gaslight Village, yes.
Yeah.
Gaslight Village, that's the other one.
Who's doing up off of Lancaster Hill?
That's this
This
one.
is
That's Windy Hill.
Windy Hill.
Okay, that's Windy Hill.
when they get the implementation grant, like they did at White Rock, the selectmen sign what's called a subrecipient agreement with them. And all we do is just funnel the money on the implementation part of it, but not the feasibility is all.
If people don't
We
get
control.
paid, guess who's responsible?
Well, I wish I knew who they were, because we could have followed up on that. I don't know why they don't come and tell us. And we bring it to Donna's attention, she can follow up.
That same entity, just because of documents they didn't file, lost money on the USDA portion.
They lost, I don't know, because I never received any complaints of anybody not being paid.
All right. So, a motion's on the table. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Okay, last week, you had talked about a letter from the New Hampshire Humane Society, and I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that I put our most recent contract on your dashboard. I don't know if you saw it.
Even the dashboard.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me either.
The dashboard doesn't work?
It's hard to get to on our Thrives. Some can, some can't.
But you have to sync them, right? Each time you turn it on, you have to sync it? Okay.
I have no problem getting it.
Mine just completely disappears, doesn't even list dashboard or shared drives. I can't get the one.
You ought to take that to Tim. He can fix that probably, if anybody can.
Yeah, it's.
Mine goes to the dashboard, that's where I'm at now, but
So when I send you an email, when you click on the link in the email, it doesn't take you right there?
I've got, no.
Yeah.
I've got- Oh, yeah, the email does. That's how I got to the school documents. I've got Cannon Bridge, Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, Windscombe Regional Formula Study Committee, and WRTA. The last one I received was today at 5:02, which is a Formula Study Committee. And what am I looking for?
It would just be a file. If you go to, in the dashboard, you should have a number of files. You've got projects, like all your Cannon Bridge
I just
documents are in
opened up
there.
projects. That's all that's in projects. Everything else is September 12th, July 18th, September 3rd, May 1st, July 22nd, September 11th, September 10th, and May 1st.
Right, could I just see for 1 second?
I don't even have projects.
It isn't showing any separate things. Oh, here it is, yeah. If you click on the first one, agreements, it says 2013 and 2014 Virginia Kennels. So there's a folder that says agreements, which was the first folder, so click on that and then they're in there.
Look at agreements. That's a date that threw me off.
Okay, I see it. Birch Hill Kennels. Do you have it,
No other
John?
date, and push the
Yeah, I've
one
got
on the
my,
left.
my drive.
Okay.
Very nice. Wow, look at all the stuff.
We received from Chief Sitar the proposed 2015 budget and community assessments for the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid and Dispatch. He said there will be a public presentation on the budget forthcoming, but we don't know the place, date, and time. So this I forwarded to the board. I didn't put it in the Thrive.
What is that now again, Joyce?
This is the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid Dispatch. It's their 2015 proposed budget,
Okay.
and they will be having a public hearing on it. And he was going to forward the date, place, and time.
Can you forward the, can you put that in our Thrives, the budget?
Yep.
I don't need it in mine, I have a copy of it.
Oh, you do? I'd take a copy then. I'd really rather in my, oh, you got a copy?
It was
Okay.
sent by email, right?
Yes, that one I forwarded by email.
That's where I copied it, I thought.
Yes, and I have another copy here. If anybody,
See? He's listed
No,
as,
it doesn't make me happy.
no,
well, you read the response from how it happened.
Yeah, and I can understand that completely. Makes sense.
So I didn't know if you wanted, I mean, I haven't even had a chance to look at this, so I don't know if you wanted to talk about that today or put it on for another meeting. Did you want to, I have an extra printed out copy if you want it.
I know, I've looked at it.
Okay.
okay, what else?
Thank you.
Heather's quarterly report, I don't
Got it.
know, you got it? Did
We gotta turn it in after you read it.
Yeah.
do you have it in your FYI, or did everybody get a copy?
Very interesting.
Here's mine, though, I read it.
I haven't read mine yet.
I enjoyed it.
Catherine, Heather,
Very
Catherine,
fortunate.
Joyce, and Pat. Okay, so did you forward it to everybody, or did they all?
Catherine made
Oh,
copies.
she made copies.
That's why we have to give them back.
Gotcha, okay. Just checking, make
Will
sure
we
you
go
got it.
review it later or anything? or
You,
just,
no,
look at it?
review it and then give it back to,
I didn't know if we were going to discuss anything on it later.
Needs
oh,
to
you
be-
can if you want.
Needs to be
No.
destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't looked at it.
I can just say that she does an excellent job. We're very grateful in what she does, not only for the town, but for the individuals.
On the Ernie's, I've been copying everybody. There's been a million emails. A lot happens moment to moment. Some days there's 20 emails. But where we are today is Fairpoint he sent me an email where he contacted MetroCast and I don't know who the other company is, because there's 2 wires that are still on those
MetroCast?
Yes, and Fairpoint.
Fairpoints.
Yeah, telephone,
It would only be
cable, and
just
electricity.
That's it.
Okay. Today's the 18th. I haven't had a chance to get over there and look to see if they've been moved yet.
I didn't notice move today when I went by.
They still haven't been moved, okay.
The Fairpoint hasn't been moved?
It's still on that pole out by the road.
Yeah.
But they cut the top off. Wire's still attached.
Which wire, though? Is it one wire?
Big.
There's 2 wires, I thought.
It's a wire, phone wire. That
Is
has-
it really thick?
Yeah, with the big box thing, rubber thing that has
It
all the
goes out
joints
to
in
the,
it.
out back? That goes out to the new pole? Still needs to be transferred?
It's on the old pole.
It's on the old pole that
Still.
needs to be transferred to the new one?
Yeah.
That's a very large cable. There's probably 50 or 100 pair cable in there, and that needs to be Fairpoint.
Yeah, it says J is from First Light Segtel, would be next with MetroCast, then Fairpoint.
No,
So this is what Marty says.
it's Fairpoint and then MetroCast, because MetroCast is below Fairpoint on the pole.
Okay, well, Marty sent this, Marty's the Fairpoint guy, copied me on what he sent to First Light Segel. It says, Jay, we have a pole on East Main Street, Tilton, located across the street from the police station that is ready for you to transfer. The town would like to start their work, but needs these transfers complete and pole removed before doing so. If you could please give us an ETA and reply back to all so the other utilities can expedite their work. This was yesterday. And then Jay answers, he's the utility manager with Waveguide Inc. Betty, we'll be in the area, so let me know if you'd like us to transfer you as well.
So, Waveguide, did you say Wire Guide or Waveguide?
Waveguide. Now, Betty Hackett is from firstlight.net.
So that's First Light's another telephone company.
Yeah, and then there's a T. Trahan at metrocast.com and an NJUNS at 186com.com. Are any of those familiar? My contact person has been this Martin Myers from the beginning. He was the one that...
It's Fairpoint.
He's Fairpoint.
Fairpoint's the larger of all of the cables there, and then there's probably only one cable going from there to the pole, because it was probably on an existing cable onto Ernie's, correct? That can easily just be removed. And then if it does happen to go to Mr. Sullivan's, you just say, I'm very sorry, it just got accidentally removed. And then they will come out quicker on a error disconnect than they will on a transfer.
Well, it was interesting because
Serious,
the pole said it was PSNH on the pole.
Climb the pole herself by now. I could see it.
No, I'm serious, that's how it works, that's how the business works. But if it's a large, with a box on it, that's got to be at least a 50 pair or 100 pair cable. And that Marty knows that he should be removing that first. Because they all have within the FAA, they have to be so many, first it's cable and phone company, and then has to be so many inches, and then it's public service, and you can't go in within that certain amount of parameters.
Well, I'll call Marty again tomorrow.
One can't overlap the other, go anywhere near them.
It's definitely one of the larger cables. It's not just the service that goes to the house. It's the,
Yeah,
like you
well, then
said.
it's a huge cable. I have no idea why they would want to go, they might just want to remove that. Because
It's like
that's a
a-
leg that's going out to nowhere.
Oh,
If
yeah,
it were going out and then going, servicing up Morrison Avenue or something, then a Knapp Road, it would be one thing, but there's nothing, it just goes to nowhere. They might just take it off and not even, why do they even need the
Pat,
pole?
what they did is when they're running up the street, instead of running from this pole to the next pole, they ran from one pole, then to one that's closer up almost to Ernie's garage, and then to the other. And that's the big one.
So they went from along the side of the road, down,
Dog-legged in just a little
And
bit,
then
maybe about
back?
8 feet, to that one pole that's out, was near the front of Ernie's, and then back out. They just dog-legged it. And so running it down, the main poles down the road.
all the way, because there was a driveway there.
Yeah.
That's why.
Is that why? Yeah. I looked at it, I couldn't believe they actually dog-legged it like that. And they may not realize that this is not just a
There's nothing,
house.
you know, I would suggest when you go back to find out the status of it, I would suggest that you tell Martin that pole is actually going to nowhere. It's not like you're going to have, make sure that they're not under the assumption that you're needing that pole to be there because you're going to construct something in that place.
Oh, Marty knows that.
I hope.
Oh, yeah.
Because that pole is going to nowhere, and now they have, for each leg that you have on wire, you're adding more resistance to the wire, so they only want as much as possibly needed to go to each house. That's a
Right,
whole
no, he
line
knows
going
that.
there for
No, we were
nothing.
standing there. He said, he knew, we were, get this pole out of it. There was no, there was no easement for it. It's in the way. It's right in our parking lot. Get it out of here.
And he suggested moving the cable over to,
Moving in the front, you mean moving, no, that was PSNH that said move it over.
does their power go to the back pole too? Way out back? Is there power to
Oh, yeah.
that pole?
Yeah. I mean, right now, well, the power used to come off our pole. No, I think the power, I don't know.
They rerouted that.
Does it, did they change the power down to Mr. Sullivan's property now?
No, it's just the building out and back.
They took the power anywhere from that Ernie's property, and they actually, and chopped the top of the pole off.
So they don't need power down there?
They need power to the house behind the
Right.
butter. There's the one
Yeah.
on the road, and then there's a house behind them on the same
They
property.
rerouted it
So
completely.
what
Yeah,
they
there's-
did is,
there's
instead of
something
sending
back
it to
there.
Ernie's,
All right.
they're sending it down on
Then they
the
need it.
property.
their
I
property
never
line.
went down back to really look at that, I should. I think
But I will
tomorrow.
follow up with him. And then,
Yeah.
since John and Catherine were both at the Concom meeting, I'll defer to them to fill you in on what happened there. But I did get an email from Chuck, and he wants to know what's happening with the loam. Is Ernie's going to use all that loam, or is some going to be used? Can Concom have some of them? He wants to know. I said, that's a good question. I'll ask the board. I was always under the assumption that the Concom, when they looked at it, they figured it was going to be more trouble than it was worth. And the selectmen said, go get it. We went and got it, and we said to Concom, we'll make sure that Ernie's, when they're done, that we'll clean it up, we'll spread some out, we'll put in the grant, that, because you're giving us an easement to store there, so we'll give you something for that. But as far as, what do we tell the Concom?
Well, we have to find out what Kadiri said they needed.
And he said me back, he said, yep, we need it.
Then there you go.
Anything you
There
can
you
get,
go.
he said.
Yeah.
So the
what
Conservation
I
Commission
thought.
would like at least have some spread out on that one section of Salmon Run.
Where it's,
I
where
think-
it's sitting now. Yeah, they'll leave some dirt there, but,
Just
so,
I think the question is if there's enough money left in the grant, pay for loam for Ernie's and complete the project, then that's what we should do, buy loan for Ernie's, because we have grant monies to do that.
Okay.
There's no sense leaving that money on the table.
Right. If there isn't, then it's a toss-up. Either we buy the loan with Tilton monies, either way, we're going to be buying loan, no matter where we use it.
All right, so I've got to make sure
Think?
that Rip,
To find
when
out.
he's getting
Yeah.
his quotations, that he should be getting quotes as if we did not have any
Have any,
loan there.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is new information to me,
Well, it's a new question for the board.
because I have never said that to him.
I think
never
it's the only-
asked that
I think it's-
question.
Yeah, I think it's
Well,
the it's the only way we can answer the question.
Okay.
As this board.
So that's a good direction to go.
Well, we
right.
ostensibly, we got the loan to put it on Ernie's, I think.
Right.
That was why we got it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's how we're going to use it. It just depends on how much money is available through the grant, I think.
Backup.
All right, well, we won't know until he knows exactly what to go out there and ask people for.
Well, he should
Like
be-
I added add the 2
He should
manhole
be able to
covers.
answer that question.
Oh, well, we know, I know, well, we know
This
what it's
isn't
going to
his first
cost.
train
We
wreck.
know what it's going to cost.
So he knows.
So will there be money left over?
I won't know yet until now that he knows what the plantings are.
No
We
fence.
know where everything's going.
No
For
We
now.
can go out and get
now.
No
prices.
guardrails. Just do it.
All right, so I will send him another email and say, find out what it's going to cost to,
I sent a quick note off to DOT
For
this
materials.
afternoon, attesting that I was at the meeting Monday, and that there was a vote to have no fence at this time. And
No
asked them,
fence, guardrail, or berm.
right, asked them that we were going to rely on no parking signs for now, to see how they would work, and they'll put the delineators in, and Bill Rollins affirmed that they would put delineators in, so I guess the signs are going to be ours. But I also indicated that, we wanted an opportunity, if they could expedite that driveway permit, to start controlling the ingress and egress all along both properties on the road front.
Did you get an answer back?
We need their permission to control the ingress and egress.
Need a driveway cut.
Well, we want
The
to.
point I was getting across to them is, at this point, we don't need that driveway permit, really. We can ingress and egress those properties wherever we want all along there.
And people are.
And if they want us to control that, they need to give us that driveway permit. That was what I was trying to get across to them. I said, look, it's to your advantage. And as I indicated to Bill Rollins when I talked to him, it's only for the Ernie's property. Currently, we could allow ingress and egress all along Salmon
Yep.
Run, as it has been for decades.
And I'd like to
Probably
leave-
more.
I'd like to leave that open until we get the, so we don't have people parking along the road for their fishing.
Well, we're going to leave it open until it's contracted, until it's completed, because the contractors will be
Yeah.
much happier having that whole width to drive in and out of
Yeah.
and work with, just like on Ernie's. So, we'll see. We'll see if that gets expedited. It would be
All right,
nice.
next.
that's it.
That's it? Oh, okay. Next. Trash collection ordinance. Catherine wanted everyone to peruse it. Maybe being so late, we could take it up on the agenda next week and look at it. We do have some,
You have a hard copy of that, Kevin?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do have an extra one. Let me
I
find,
made some notes on mine.
if,
so-
I know it's on the drive, too. It's like
if you want to send me your corrections, I can put them into the document and email it out to you, and then we can discuss them next Thursday. I found a bunch of them when I looked at it again. I'll see if I can get someone to teach me how to highlight corrections, so you'll know what I've changed, because I haven't got that technique down yet.
Change the font color.
Well, that's what I do.
That'll highlight it right there.
I know, but it's really cool how people put them in through the parentheses and all that other stuff.
Well, there's a field that you can color in. I'll show you one of these
Okay,
things.
it's wicked cool.
The only thing I saw was in the barrel description to add something regarding
Putrescible.
that the barrels put down the bottom shall not contain gross filth or nor give off offensive odor. I think I mentioned that before.
I think I did. I'm gonna write it on the front of this, to make sure I did. I'll write it here.
Gross filth and offensive odors. Does it say the barrels have to have handles on them or anything? Okay. And that was all.
Oh, I love it. This
All right,
requires
do we,
cans.
any selectmen have any absolute necessary report tonight?
The only thing that I would say is that we have a copy of the latest report from the Concord Regional Solid Waste, the incinerator report, the co-op, and I'm going to give it to Catherine Wozner so that this copy will be in the office for everybody to peruse at their leisure. It's got a completely detailed audited budget and expense reports and what have you.
I have one other question. We tabled the minutes of 8:14. Are they a go to be approved or watch the tape
Yeah.
on the
I
pros
didn't-
and cons?
I was
Yeah.
gonna get to Catherine on
I
the ones that
did.
pertain to me, but I didn't. So if we could just do all the minutes next week, that would be awesome. Draft copies can be given out. Somebody wants them.
On the 8:14 ones, that was on the K-9. Well, I didn't have an opportunity to speak with you, but that meeting, when Abe was here talking about the K-9, Catherine had a lot of questions. 22 questions. But that was not given out as part of the minutes. That was emailed to Abe and then emailed to the board, so Catherine would not have put that into the...
Yeah.
Is that what you were
I think I
referring to?
read
No,
off some of
actually...
You read off a couple of them,
Just to
yes.
have it generic,
'Cause I looked at
that
it.
all selectmen brought up pros as well as cons.
Right.
and that we need to look at
If you want to look back at the tape.
future costs
just-
and reliability
questions
and
that I-
future costs.
It was-
Liabilities
How
and
many people talking?
Yeah.
My
It was
fault.
that, and the other thing was, I said I would volunteer to,
the
at that meeting,
gazebo,
to
right.
to fix the roof at the gazebo at my expense, so.
All right, I'll get with you, Catherine, and there's a couple of questions that Catherine did read off on the tape.
Do you have them?
The first couple of questions on her list, we'll forward you the list,
I'm going to do that right
that she read off, and Abe said, okay, can you just email me the list for the sake of
And I'll add
saving
it.
time? Right.
No problem.
And that's what I think has happened. And then also, in the minutes, in that paragraph, John had volunteered to
Yes.
repair the roof, okay. We have a letter, I'm going to leave it in the FYI file. The Tilton Senior Center needed space and room, so we donated the airplanes that were hand-done by the veteran from Bo, and the cabinet, and the World War II books up to the Veterans Home, and we got a very nice letter from Margaret Lebrecq saying thank you. Happened to be no coincidence, but on September 11th, she wrote us a nice little thank you note for us. If anybody wants to read that, for the sake of time, we're going to just pass it around. And for an announcement, Emily LaPlante is the interim program director for the Tilton Senior Center, so that those that are out there come in looking for a program director and see Emily. She's the one. They haven't hired one yet. So M stepped up to the plate. Okay, I will, at this time, is there any more business before us in a public session?
Can I ask a question about the stuff that was donated to the Veterans Home? Not that I'm opposed to that, but how did that come to happen? Who owned those? Was it town property, or how did it work?
They donated them to the senior center.
Was that Joanna Oliver?
No,
No?
it was a lady that had read it in the paper that we were creating the senior center. And her husband was a veteran who had just passed away, and he hand-painted
Oh, they're beautiful models.
every model
Yeah.
for every year, and she donated them to us, and we had, at the time, had plenty of room for them. But the meals have increased, and the room has decreased, so
The building
made a
didn't get any
decision.
larger, yeah.
The executive committee made a decision that a better home for them on display would be the Veterans Home. So we talked with Peggy. John Bossy came down, took a look at them, and measured space, and found a place for them, so.
Yeah, I
it'll be-
think they're right, actually. It's going to be nice up there at the vets.
So it was, with the music on Wednesday nights and the increase in the meals on Tuesday and Thursdays, people were bumping into them.
It's only a matter of time before somebody broke one of those glass cases.
Now, it was very important to somebody to have gone through
Oh,
all
yes.
that work.
Yes, yes.
And we really wanted to see it go into a good home.
Well, good.
All right, so I will make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, that which discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation of. Second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Rick, welcome back. I will make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as it may, as it pertains to people's reputations, permit,
As it
Second.
pertains to legal,
until such matters are resolved.
thank you.
Second.
I make a motion, we adjourn. Oh, all those in favor?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
okay. Second, all those in favor?
Yes,
Aye.
indeed.
Good. Good night.
Oh, really nice, yeah. Stop this.
What?
I think this is